Hey guys, I'm back. So I just did a reboot. Come on over. I'm going to play the intro all over again so everybody can join. Tonight's really important, and I'm not going to keep reiterating this over and over and over again. So please join me. I'll see you soon.
Shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Aslı.
Zoe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinning.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Come on, bro. Judgment, Aslı.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love it when he does that.
Let's watch.
Come on,
that's why, like, I was trying to just put it out there. Is like everybody has come up with this idea, and that's not the case. People wouldn't know Sebastian. Like, if we had never said he was autistic, people would not have a clue that Sebastian was autistic. They would thought something was wrong with him, and not ever said autism.
Right. And you know what? If he
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make the man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Naja boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. When I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO. When the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle. I was born to grind. Yo, scared of your potential. I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man. Of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic. I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip. I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama hip, so thick that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing you need endurance to go in. I got mileage on this pen. I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here, coming at you with another raw narrative, and I'm so glad that you're all here tonight. I'm sorry I had some technical difficulties, and my God, I have a horrible stomach ache. I feel like shit, honestly. I don't know if I'm coming down with something or what. So, we're going to get into this tonight. I'm not going to probably engage a whole lot in the chat because of that. So, I'm trying to drink bubbly stuff to make my stomach feel better. I wish I had some 7-Up or some ginger ale. Okay, so we're going to get into this tonight, and I'm not going to discuss it further. And if you're coming in late, please rewind and be kind to me, because this is very awful and difficult for me to go through. I'm very sick and tired of it. I handle things with humor, so, you know, it is a little bit, you know, ridiculously funny that I'm dealing with this. I typically would not put Sebastian on the screen, but I think they're deliberately hiding behind people that won't just tell the truth and say everything has to do with the fact that I have been covering this young man since March of 2024, since about a month after he went missing, give or take. I think it was the 3rd week of March, something like that. Don't quote me. I don't really give a shit. At this point, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Okay. That being said, I'm going to be going over some court documents tonight. My court documents with Matthew Dominic DeMoro and his wife Noelle Masturi DeMoro, whatever. You know who you are. And you know that you have this binding order against you that you're not allowed to continue to harass me, harass anybody that I work with. And we're going to get all into that. None of the people in my community, you're not allowed to do that. Hey, Kiki. Really quick, I'm just going to shout you guys out. I love you guys. Town Chat Cafe, good to see you, sweetheart. Kiki. I'm sorry, Kai Kai. Kiki. And Linda Hall, SI Officer. Blessed. Show Poodles. Wait, what? Lori, I love you, Lori. Lori, I am so sorry. When I was doing some research, I didn't realize that you were being tagged in things. You're a subscriber. You're a moderator. You should never have to deal with that. Hey, Nathan. Hey, sweetheart. And don't go after Nathan. That's not my boyfriend, by the way. And anybody that I've warned about people, please heed my warning, because I do it because I care. I'm not doing it to be vindictive or because I can't stand someone. I'm doing it to protect myself, you and others, and my family, my friends, everybody. It's important to me. And I'm sorry, Lori. I'm very, very sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Little Miss Sharon, thank you. I've also seen you be harassed, Little Miss Sharon, by this creep who is my stalker, Matthew Dominic DeMoro of Florida. And, you know, I also saw Laura. I also saw Poppy Love. I also saw GA64. So glad to have you guys, right? Don't ever let anybody steal your purpose or your peace, because they are robbing you blind. They are robbing you blind. Listen to what your purpose is on this earth, because we don't have very long to live on this earth. Most of us are in our 40s, 50s, 60s. I see my demographic. Okay. Hey, Little Redo. He continues on, Little Red. He won't stop, and it's always women that he goes after. And it's highly triggering for me. Okay. I came out victorious, like the warrior that I am. Okay. So I'm allowed to talk about this. Checkmate. I won. Game over. In case you don't understand what fucking checkmate means. You ignorant asshole. Because you've gone after my manager in the last week. And then there's another woman that has a protection order against you, and you're blaming it on me and telling your subscribers that I have something to do with it. Excuse me? When I hear that, it makes me want to throw up. I'm surprised I can even keep my coffee and this fucking Baja Mountain Dew down, because I'm so sick at my stomach. I had to eat a fucking antacid. I'm over here popping this shit because of my nerves being shot over this bullshit. This is real life. This is not a joke. It's not a cartoon. You think that you're impervious to people getting a hold of your personal information and harassing and stalking you? You're bonkers. You're really bananas. You really don't fucking get it, do you? Because you're able to be stalked and harassed just like me. So anybody that wants to engage in that activity, have at it, and just know that it can happen to you too. Scranton Stringler, good to see you. Scranton what? The Electric City. All right. We have a human being, a child who is missing, and you're saying, "Oh, don't put his picture up there when you talk about this shit." Well, guess what? I would never be dealing with this shit if it wasn't for this poor child who is missing still. I don't feel sorry for myself. I feel sorry for this child. I feel scared for his well-being because this Matthew DeMoro, who I have, yes, a lifetime. I asked for a lifetime restraining order. They can give me a restraining order for however long I wish to have it for. And I chose to have it for a lifetime against Matthew DeMoro and his wife, Noelle. I'm going to go over my court paperwork, the documents. It's a 6-page document detailing what and outlining what this all entails. And it goes both ways. So I'm not to go over and bother him either. And I haven't. I have no reason to. I live on a fucking resort. Okay? If I'm not researching, I'm out chilling. All right? And if I'm out chilling, sometimes I'm still researching. I'm always working behind the scenes. Because it's my job to do so. And I'm financially taken care of just fine. And it's really, quite frankly, none of your fucking business who financially supports me or why. That being said, I have my own stones to turn in the Sebastian Rogers case. I'm going to give you guys an update about the little boy that we talked about last night. His name is Jaden Spicer. Jaden Spicer. I have personal thoughts on that. There has not been an update. I saw it 9 hours ago. They're still looking for him. They're still putting out a timeline of events. There's going to be a prayer vigil, or there was one. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I had to write some things down because I knew it would come out right if I didn't. I'm just going over my notes, making sure. Oh, okay. So I am also doing this because I am beyond sick. I am beyond sick of dealing with this. Checkmate. I won. Leave me alone. The court ordered you to leave me alone. That includes, and I will let you know, I have the receipts. That way you can reread it in case you don't trust what you have in front of you. I'm beyond sick and tired of the slander, the defamation, the lies. I have nothing to do with what you and your wife do to other women every single day over the internet. Every single day. But you bet your bottom dollar that I am collecting these as evidence. I do download them when somebody sends them to me and alerts me to this nonsense. And then from there, I take it and put it into a file. That way, when I go to court, I can give that to them when I'm ready to violate you for everything that you have done and that you continue to do. It's all being documented. I move in silence until checkmate. I'm not like you. I use my brain. So whenever somebody alerts me to the criminal activity from these two stalkers, yes, 2 stalkers from YouTube. Hey, Mally Cat. Hey, IML, good to see you. I download it and I collect it as evidence, and I've saved everything. Everything that is out there, every person that's come to me through Terry Lynn, everybody out there, I have all of the documentation. All of it. I erase nothing. because I know that I have to save it and submit it as evidence because I've been cyber stalked. I took care of my cyber stalking happening here in Florida, and you will see that here soon. And I also am taking care of it on a federal level, which was already started. Already started. I don't know how many times I have to explain this over and over and over again. That's why I'm not interacting with the chat tonight. I love you all, but I need to get this out, and it needs to be concise, and it needs to go out into the ether, and people need to fucking understand it. Because it's bullshit when you want to sit there and act like all this shit is true when there's nothing but lies being told. Fabricated, I mean, beyond belief. Beyond belief. I don't come up here and talk about this shit because I'm not missing. That's not what my channel was supposed to be about. It's not about me or my life. If I wanted to do that, I would take you guys down to the pool with me and I'd sit down there and we'd chill. And I'd drink a fucking martini. I drink a fucking margarita. I drink whatever the fuck I want. Down there. A fucking old fashioned would be fantastic. Maybe a little bit of gentleman's jack. Hey, K9 Captain Jules. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, you guys. Jules knows what it's like. Jules knows what it's like for somebody to say that she didn't earn something that she worked so hard for. I worked mentally hard for what I have achieved. I'll tell you something about me, and I've put my picture. I'm not going to slash my nursing picture up here, but after my daughter was born, and after I was done breastfeeding her, and she was 2 years old, and she was kind of a little bit more independent, I went out and I got my CNA, my cleaning, nasty asses. Yes, it's the bottom that you can be in the nursing field. But what you learn in there is invaluable about quality of life for people, about how to give care to people, about how to love and be compassionate towards people. Some things that you guys probably have no fucking idea what I'm talking about, some of you. And it's sick to me. But I'm going to tell you, I did that, and I graduated with honors. I was at the top of my class. I have receipts for that too. I have a fucking diploma to prove it. And then I moved on later in life because I was abused very, very badly by my daughter's father, who I was married to for 11 years. Excuse me. I was married to him for 7 years. We were together for 11. I got together with my ex-husband when I was 16 years old. I worked my ass off my entire fucking life. And if I want to chill now because I'm an empty nester and my daughter is like, I couldn't be more proud of my daughter, and I just want to make her proud of me. I have earned what I'm doing right now. Maybe I got to do it while I was young. Maybe you're jealous. Maybe you can't fucking hack it. Maybe you didn't set yourself up. That's not my fucking problem. Because I take care of myself. I'm a fucking survivor. I'm a warrior. I fight to survive. I fight to survive, and I'm smart about it. I use my brain. I used my brain to achieve my real estate license. After my divorce, after I had been beaten down, I've been beaten bloody and left for dead in the living room floor, choked out. Choked in the living room floor, left for dead. Every single one of my blood vessels in both of my eyes were completely busted. And I had an office job that I had to show up at 9 a.m. the next morning. I woke up on the living room floor in the dark. He had left me in the living room floor. My daughter's bedroom was right there. All she needed to do was come out and see this. That's all she needed to do. Is come out and see that. I had to Google a reason why my eyes looked like that. And I told my boss that I was throwing up really, really hard. And that happened. They didn't believe me, of course, because they knew what I was going through. They saw it. I was best friends with the CEO's daughter. I mean, they knew. But when you're ready to get out, you do. And not until then. It's kind of like we were talking about with addicts last night. You have to make that choice. You have to turn your life around. It's up to you. And you can do it. You just have to plan for it. You have to be careful. It's very dangerous. Sometimes you'll leave and they'll find you. Sometimes they're not done with you. It's a very scary situation. And I was stalked by my ex-husband several times that I left. So for all of you fucking idiot trolls out there that want to sit there and say, oh, why didn't you just leave? That's why, because I did leave and he found me again. He wasn't done with me yet. As a matter of fact, he wasn't done with me until my daughter turned 18. And he took me through the Catholic Church. And I can still get married in the Catholic Church. And he can't. Because I have the documentation. I save everything. Because I don't like it when people lie on me. And I want to make sure that I have receipts. Hey, Freebird. So good to see you, buddy. I hope you're gooning. Hope you're gooning, girl. I'm sorry, guys. That's an inside thing. I have my own stones to overturn in this case. So, and forgive me, guys. I just noticed that I don't have my cell because I put it on the charger in the back. So give me a second, please. I'm just going to put this up here and you can read it as you want. You might have to zoom in. I'm going to read it to you, but I want to get my other phone so that way I can see it because it comes out small. So my apologies. I'll be right back. Please hold a second. All right, my apologies, my friends. So for my privacy, my address is private through the Florida courts, and anyone that tries to harass me at my address would be making a very poor decision because you yourself would probably be in trouble for harassing a victim. So I just kind of want to put that out there in case anybody wants to, be a vigilante for a vindictive cause and further hurt me as you think that because I'm kind, I'm weak. Okay, so bear with me. I apologize. Sometimes technology doesn't want to work out the way that it should. Okay, so I got this in my drive. And I'm going to show it to you now. This goes for Noelle too. So, make no mistake. I'm not going to sit here and read you both of these over and over again because the same stipulations are placed in the other document. And if you don't believe me by now, by God, would you please unsubscribe from me? And because I don't need it. I really don't. I'm building a community of people who love and care and trust each other here. We don't have this nasty shit. And all of the people that I weeded out of Terry Lynn's group are no longer here anymore. And I'm sorry for those of you that were hurt by Terry Lynn. I was as well. But she's gone real life way too much and way too far. And she has a history of doing it. That's what she did before Sebastian. That's what she's continuing to do. Everything is right in the world with Terry Lynn and the way that she fucking acts. It's her authentic self. And like I said, I have complaints open against her through the cyber stalking division of the FBI, and she knows that. Minnie knows that. Grace's gavel knows that, right? Sally Johnson, Tiffany Franks, they all know that. They all know that. So this isn't a secret. This isn't something that, oh, if I talk about it, I'm open to being harassed further. No, ma'am. All right, case number 2 dash, and you can feel free to, like, this is public knowledge, folks. You know what? I'm proud of myself for standing up for myself. I'm proud of myself for standing up for myself. And those that know and truly love me, they're proud of me too. They're not embarrassed of me. They love me. I'm very, very loved and blessed of a person. I'm very, very loved and blessed of a person to have you guys. Now, I'm telling you right now, though, if you're about this bullshit, please get the fuck on. Because I'm not going to be your soft place to land when you're going to stab me in the fucking back. It's not going to fucking happen. I've had it. I'm done. I'm protecting my own. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Jules. I so appreciate it, guys. And I'm serious. I don't, man, if you're going to feel sorry for someone, please feel sorry for Sebastian, because this is the reason why he doesn't want people talking about, or they don't want people talking about Sebastian. They're sending our personal information. This man, my stalker, is sending it to Chris Proudfoot, sending my manager of my channel's personal information while he's on a live to, and he's not allowed to do that per this order, by the way. He's sending that over to Chris Proudfoot, who in my opinion is a dangerous man who has orchestrated all of this nonsense. Final judgment of injunction for protection against stalking after notice. The petition for injunction for protection against stalking under section 784.0485 Florida statutes and other papers filed in the court have been reviewed. The court has jurisdiction of the parties in the subject matter. The term petitioner, as used in the injunction, includes the persons on whose behalf this injunction is entered. That would be me. That's me. Trisha, a person that I've told you my first name from the day I got up here. I don't have anything to hide. Again, I'm not embarrassed of myself. I'm proud of how far I've come. Very proud of how far I've come. It is intended, and this is in bold, that this protection order meet the requirements of 18 USC section 2265, and therefore intended that it be accorded full faith and credit by the court of another state or Indian tribe and enforced as if it were the order of the enforcing state or the Indian tribe. In other words, this is fully enforced, and it is for life. So when he wants to sit there and be rude to his wife and tell her how wrong she is, no, she has it right. She at least realized the ramifications of what happened. I'm sorry that you didn't. She's right. You're wrong. And try again. Might ask her. She sounds like she might be the brains of the operation. Section 1, the hearing. This is the hearing that we went to. That was at the Florida court. I think it's like 1700 West Monroe or some Monroe Street. Okay, you can look it up online. This cause came before the court for a hearing to determine whether an injunction for protection against stalking in this case should be either issued, modified, or extended. There's little check mark boxes, right? Okay, so it says issued. So the reason why we had the hearing for, those of you whose, head's too small and your ears are too large, please pay attention. We were there because the judge was seeking to issue this on my behalf. He wasn't asking to modify, extend it. No, he was looking to issue this on my behalf. I already presented my burden of proof in order to get this protection order. And I'm sorry that those of you out there that aren't familiar with it, I'm not holding this against you. So please don't feel like I'm being an asshole because you don't know or because you're ignorant. It's, you know, I mean, I'm glad that you've never had to deal with this before, you know, I mean, and it's understandable, and it's a lot of legal jargon, and a lot of it you have to, you know, really read carefully and understand. But I showed cause to the judge why I should be issued both of these injunctions, orders of protection from my stalkers, right? They had to come in and tell the judge why he shouldn't do it. Okay, so just to establish that. The hearing was attended by the petitioner, who is me, and the respondent, who is Matthew. And the same goes for Noelle. She was in attendance there as well, because what they did was they consolidated the court because they both asked for continuances and lied to the judge and said they were seeking legal counsel. They lied and grifted to their audience and have a legal fund now for money from their audience. And I'm sorry, if you're their audience and you want to spend your hard-earned money for that, then go for it. I hope it makes you happy. I hope that that is something that you enjoy doing, and don't get mad when he doesn't use it for good. Or she does it. You know? I mean, you're giving it to him. So don't forget that. And I document everybody that gives money too. So, and all of those other alternate egos too, because you got, you know, Sally Johnson, aka Minnie, aka Cromer Reels. You got Grace's Gavel 2.0, Chroma Chronicles, aka Tiffany Franks. Stalker extraordinaire #1 that started this with Terry Lynn. Same goes for Minnie. Same goes for Stephanie Beveridge, Forever Nikki's mom. Section findings on 6/5/2025, right? Just a couple months ago. Don't forget, he hasn't. It hasn't been effective long, and he's done every bit of, you know, tried to violate every single thing he can. You know, whether he knows it or not. Again, maybe he might want to go back and read over this because he's violated it. A notice of hearing was served on the respondent together with a copy of the petitioner's petition. This court and the temporary injunction, if issued, service was within the time required by Florida law, and the respondent was afforded an opportunity to be heard. Yes, and they were also given a continuance. Both of them were. And when I went to before the judge with Noelle, I asked for it to be for the same date and time, and they said, "Yes, ma'am, of course we'll do that, and you can be on your way." And I said, "Thank you," and I left the courthouse, and she stayed behind. After hearing the testimony of each party present, oh, here, let me switch the page for y'all. Just that way y'all can see it. You can see that Lady Freedom is not, I might be a lot of fucking things, but a liar is not one of them. A liar is not one of them. See how many of you salty motherfuckers want to review this. After hearing the testimony of each party present and any witnesses, or upon consent of the respondent, the court finds that based on the specific facts of this case, the petitioner is a victim of stalking. I am a survivor of stalking. I am a warrior. I showed up to court. I went diligently. I took notes. I took transcript, screenshots. I took it all. And I submitted it all. That is how I won. That is how I am victorious. I am a warrior. Yes, hear me roar. Hear me roar. And that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. If somebody is doing this to you, it is unlawful. Don't play their game. In fact, if you do that, then you're going to be wrong too. Stay in the right always. It's not easy. We all want to stoop to a level that maybe we wouldn't have if we weren't so angry, right? We all get angry. We all have feelings. It's weird if you don't get angry. Those are the people I kind of get a little worried about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, clock tower. If you don't get angry ever, but it can motivate you, and you do the right thing, and you stay in the right always, and you will prevail. You will prevail because God doesn't like ugly. Injunction and terms, section 3. This injunction shall be in full force and effective until, I think it meant in effect until further order of the court, right? Or they could have clicked the other date. That was up to me. They asked me that question as the perceived victim. Right? They said, ma'am, what would you like to do with this? Would you like this to happen, be forever, or would you like this to be for a couple of months? Here's the thing about domestic violence. Sometimes people go back. Sometimes it takes a few times to get out. As I said before, sometimes we make the conscious decision to stay because we're scared and because they've stalked us and found us and we feel defeated. Sometimes they beat the fuck out of us and we can't do anything about it. And we're stuck until we heal. And that's physically heal, not mentally, by the way. Because that shit sticks with you. That's why I myself have post-traumatic stress disorder. So not only are they re-victimizing a victim, Noel and Matthew Mastori, Mr. and Mrs. White Boy Radio, tomorrow, whatever. It doesn't really friggin' matter. It doesn't really matter because the courts know who they are. This injunction is valid and enforceable throughout all counties in the state of Florida. The terms of this injunction may not be changed by either party alone or by both parties together, right? So that means that I can't go over to their house and say, hey, Noel and Matt, let's, pop open one of your favorite, Bud Lights or something and, or Coors or Keystone, I don't know, whatever, the Milwaukee's best and hash this out, together. We can't do that. We can't make that determination. We would have to go back to court. And then when either one of us would file that petition, it would mainly be me. It would be to either modify or extend it, as I showed you in the previous document. Please be kind and rewind. Again, I'm not going to keep going over this. This is not okay for Sebastian. This is so fucking fucked up and wrong. And I would never know these people if it hadn't been for me trying to turn over every stone for this child, because I don't know why Sumner County law enforcement is not. So, this injunction is valid and enforceable throughout all counties in the state of Florida. The terms of this injunction may not be changed by either party. Oh, sorry, I read that already. Willful violation or the termination, willful violation of the terms of this injunction, such as committing an act of stalking against the petitioner, going to or being within 500 feet of the petitioner's residence, place of employment, school, or other place prohibited in this injunction, knowingly and intentionally coming within 100 feet of the petitioner's motor vehicle, whether or not that vehicle is occupied, is committing any other violation of this injunction through an intentional unlawful threat, unlawful threat or word or act to do violence to the petitioner, telephoning the petitioner, contacting me, the petitioner, or communicating with me, unless indirect contact through a third party, right? Gracie, Terry Lynn, Minnie, whatever the fuck you want to call yourselves, 2.0, 5 fucking .0, I don't really give a shit .0. It doesn't fucking matter. You're a third party. You're not to contact me or harass me for these people. And I have the receipts of these people in your chats. So don't try to tell me you're not in there. That gaslighting doesn't work when you have proof in front of your face. Is specifically allowed by this injunction. Right? So no contacting me. No contacting me whatsoever. Not to mess with me through a third party. Nothing. 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 And shout out really quick too. Shout out to Jays for Justice. Shout out to and I don't care if people have differences or whatever, but when I hear that those people, there was another one, but that was somebody that I actually was in her community for a while. And I appreciate whatever she said about me. And Wispy too. Sorry, Wispy. I forgot about Canadian Wispy. You know, thank you for doing that, because there is a reason why I was able to get this. There's there is absolutely unequivocally, and it's outlined why I was able to get this. And if you guys want to sit here and listen to the friggin' court transcripts, we can grab those up. I might have to read them, or it could be a recording. I could request a recording. I mean, I've put myself out here. I've tried to, you know, show myself who I am. I've never hidden who I am. So if you don't believe me by now, please, by all means, you know, kick rocks. Because I'm not here to, like, convince you of who I am. I know who I am. But thank you, girls, for sticking up for me, ladies. Thank you for sticking up for me. I appreciate that. Because, yes, there was a reason why. And I don't know if Jay knows that. She lives in Florida or what. But thank you. Okay, that out of the way. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. This is terrible. So they're not allowed to do this through a third party is specifically allowed by this injunction. Defacing or destroying my personal property, including my motor vehicle, having care, custody, or use of a possession of a firearm and ammunition unless authorized by section 790.233. And by the way, they both had to seize all of their firearms. Both of them did. If you don't believe me, look it up. The case number, I think I forgot to give it to you guys. Case number 25-034133DRA for Matt's. And then you could probably find hers someplace. Excuse me. All right. So they're not supposed to defame my shit or my character, by the way, because that's a whole nother ball game, and I could sue for that. So, you know, I would advise just to stop, because I'm already, you know, reporting all of this. I've been doing research the whole entire week. Florida statutes constitute, and I've been also reaching out to my family and friends, you know, people that I have their phone numbers. And again, I'm sorry if you guys ever stuck up for me or tried to say that something was wrong and somebody, you know, made you feel like an asshole or tried to gaslight you and tell you that you're wrong. You know, because I appreciate people that stuck up for me, you know, and a night, you know, I just hope that we're representing Sebastian well, because he's not being represented well at all. And that's why I played what I played in the beginning, because he's not being represented well at all, and it's not fair. Actually criminal, in my opinion. All right. Any party violating this injunction shall be subject to civil or indirect criminal contempt proceedings, including the imposition of a fine or imprisonment, and also may be charged with a crime punishable by a fine, jail, or both, as provided by state Florida statutes. Right? So it just depends. But when you have records like they do, and they're dangerous people, and I've been told over and over, please be careful. Yeah. Believe me, I am careful. I'm very careful. and I'm very, I make sure that I do my due diligence to protect myself and my family and my friends and the people that care about me and that I care about. Prohibited actions. Respondent shall not commit or cause any other person hold on, wait a minute, let's rewind. Prohibited actions for those in the nosebleed seats. Respondent shall not commit or cause any other person to commit any acts of stalking against the petitioner, me. So they're not allowed to commit any further acts of stalking against me, any of them, or their little cronies, or people who think that they're going to go back and say, guess what I did to Lady Freedom in their chat. No, you're not. You don't. I think I've proven that I don't let people fuck with me. I don't allow for it. I stand up. And please, guys, don't put up with this shit. Nobody deserves this. None of yous do. None of you. Not even the people I don't agree with. Nobody deserves it. Furthermore, the petitioner, you're not supposed to stalk me. You're not supposed to cyber stalk me. You're not supposed to aggravated stalk me. You're not supposed to do any of that shit. You're supposed to stay away from me or any criminal offense resulting in physical injury or death. They put that in there because most of the time this is in place for women who have been involved in domestic violence. But there's a reason why cyber stalking and stalking laws are enforced, because of crazy, unwell, unhinged people who need help that are out in society. Somehow, by the grace of God, you got another chance and you're still doing the shit that you were doing. It's fucking ridiculous. None of that. You're not allowed to do any of it. Respondent shall not commit any of these or violation of injunction through intentional or unlawful threat, word, or act to violence to the petitioner. There will be no contact. Respondent shall have no contact with the petitioner unless otherwise provided in the section. Unless otherwise provided herein, respondent shall have no contact with the petitioner. Respondent, which is Matthew DeMoro and his wife Noelle, they are not to have any correspondence with me. Nothing. They shall not directly or indirectly contact me in person, by mail, email, fax, telephone, smoke signal. Just kidding, I added that in there. But fuck me. Through another person, or in any other manner, including any electronic means or use of social media. Or use of social media. Got it? Again, if you're okay with all of this, scram. Beat it. Furthermore, the respondent shall not contact or have any third party contact anyone connected with the petitioner, which I have proof that that's been done, with the petitioner's employment or school to inquire about the petitioner or to send any messages to the petitioner. That means you, Megan Els. That's you, honey. You better stop. Because you won't be laughing long. I will slap you with one of these as well. I'll add you to the list. So I would simmer down and realize that I'm going to take it the smart route, and you'll be added to the cyber stalking because you live in Texas. Okay? Since everybody likes to tell where I live, I don't give a shit if I say where you live. You want to feel unsafe? There you go. Because any one of yous can be found. Unless otherwise proved herein, respondent shall not go to, in, or within 500 feet of the petitioner's current residence, which is held confidential by my choice. He didn't have a choice in that matter either. And I'm sure that really chapped his ass, but that's too bad. Or any residence to which the petitioner may move. So that means that for life, as long as I say so, you're not allowed to come near me. So stay away from me. Stay away from me. And don't you send Chris Proudfoot after me, because if you don't think I've already reported that too, you're wrong. And now I'm going to report it again, since you're going after my manager and you sent her information to him on your live stream. Make no mistake. I'm protecting people, and I'm showing people the right way to handle this, because I'm not going to end up like poor Brittany J. I'm not. Sorry, that's not me. We're different people. We're individuals. The following order, not allowed to go to my school, anywhere I'm at. The following other places regularly frequented by the petitioner and have any named family members or individuals closely associated with the petitioner. So that means you can't get a hold of my family or talk to anybody in my family. Okay? Terry Lynn, any of you guys. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. None of you are allowed. Respondent shall not knowingly or intentionally come within 100 feet, and this is in bold, of the petitioner's motor vehicle, whether or not the vehicle is occupied. Respondent shall not deface or destroy the petitioner's personal property, including petitioner's motor vehicle. Other provisions regarding contact. And it's repetitive, but they have to be with these idiots because they just don't get it. It has to be a 6-page document reiterating it over and over and over again, because obviously he can't stop, and neither can she. Obviously she can't stop. Firearms, unless paragraph A is checked below, which it's not. B, C, and D are checked below. Here you go. Sorry, I went to the next page without yous. There you go. Right? If it's otherwise stipulated here, but it's not, right? So they're not allowed to have the firearms. They were told to hand them over, right? Respondent shall not have in his or her care. This goes for Noelle too, because this is the same paperwork. I'm not reading it twice. Like I said, you don't believe me? Go look it up yourself. And then please unsubscribe. Because I'm tired of wearing my heart on my sleeve and caring for other people that don't care about me. If you don't truly care about me and you're not here for a reason, or you want to write a tell-all book because you talked to me for a month on the phone because I was being nice to you because I felt sorry for you, then do it. But get the fuck out of here. Seriously. And continue to harass me through these people, and you're going to be added to the list. All right, for the respondent, let's see. You're not allowed to do any of this stuff. They can't have any of it, right? Firearms or ammunition. It is a violation of section 790.233 of Florida statutes and a first-degree misdemeanor for the respondent to have in his or her care, custody, possession, or control any firearm or ammunition. Thank God for that. Now, if A is stipulated, they're allowed to have this, right? And fuck that cut, because it doesn't even matter. So if you want to read that part, zoom in, look it up. I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous. Fucking stomach hurts. All right. Respondent shall not use or possess a firearm or ammunition. That B is checked. C is checked. Respondent shall surrender any firearms or ammunition in the respondent's possession to the Lee County Sheriff's Department, 1070 Intercom Drive, Fort Myers, Florida, 33913. Now, if you want to join these people and lose your right to a firearm, have at it. I have full rights to my firearms, and I love that. Because no one is going to hurt my family. Not on my watch. It'll never fucking happen. And nor will they take me out. That's for God. Failure to surrender either firearms or ammunition, if ordered to do so by the court, constitutes a misdemeanor of the first degree, punishable as provided in section 775.082 or 775.083 Florida statutes. And for all of you out there who have been harassed by this guy, I mean, I guess there's multiple women that I wasn't aware of until I was able to do this. Please, by all means, if you have to contact these people and make sure that this is a, no firearms to be had and things like that, if you're afraid for your life, please, because these people are dangerous. And there's a reason why all of these boxes are checked. Box D is checked also, other directives relating to firearms and ammunition. So all three of these boxes were checked. That means he is to have none of it. None of it. The respondent must provide a firearms receipt. Thank you, Florida. Thank you, Florida, for this. Because I think good people should have, who have the right and the privilege, they've earned that right and privilege to carry a firearm to protect themselves against wackos like this. Complete fucking whack job. But by all means, take it away from these people and make them give a receipt. He loves receipts, so, it must be a thing. Because, that's in the transcripts multiple times that I had to highlight. The respondent must provide a firearms receipt or a sworn affidavit to the clerk of court, Lee County Courthouse, first floor. This is where court was held for us, by the way. 1700 Monroe Street, Fort Myers, Florida, 33901. Within 24 hours of this being issued, this was back in June, folks, and being served with this order. So as soon as he was served with this, and yes, they are going to show up to your house. They're going to show up to your house because you're a criminal and you're engaging in criminal activity. So yeah, we get an email, we get this information emailed to us, and you get it served to you. If you're embarrassed with your neighbors, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. Maybe if your neighbors or your friends, they'll say, maybe you and Noelle need to rethink what you guys are doing because you're scaring the pants off of ladies and saying that these, people are running around without them. I mean, I don't know. If their neighbors are proud of that, they're probably just afraid to tell them, in my humble opinion. Treatment, intervention, or counseling. Now, this is more geared toward a domestic violence situation, guys. But please, if you're in Florida and you are, I'll leave it up. I was going to look at you, but because I want you to listen, please. If you're in Florida and you are being hurt by your significant other, your partner, the one that's supposed to be that person who loves you, and they're physically harming you, or they're stalking you, or any of the above, right? You're being abused by this person. Please reach out and go to the courts. The lady down there is so nice here in our county, in Lee County. She was so helpful. And the one day I was really frustrated, and she could tell, and she's just like, I'm so sorry. And she wanted to hear all about Sebastian. And I told her all about Sebastian. Right? Because I don't feel bad putting his face up here, because I want you guys to remember that I would never have known, nor would I have dealt with these people if it wasn't for these abusive assholes Chris and Katie Proudfoot are okay with and want the personal information of YouTubers. I made a video about it, Chris's own words. It's a short video. Please, if you're going to watch any of my videos, go watch that one. Please. Because I don't want to hear it in the comments. Oh, why do you have Sebastian up there when you're talking about Krama? when you're talking about your shit, because he doesn't deserve this. I should be up here talking about him. I had a whole different show planned. But when somebody wants to sit there and accuse me again and spread lies about me and incite violence against me with their chat, no. When they want to use me as their money grab, no. I hope you got your $180 back, Truth. Truth. Yeah, you're real worried about that. I hope you got your money back, baby, because unless you don't mind shitting out $180, then that's on you. But they're, they've yet to get a lawyer. This is still fully enforceable, and take a gander, please. And don't you fucking disrespect me either, because I don't deserve that. I was always mindful when I was reviewing people, unless they deliberately went in on Sebastian. And when I reviewed you, I showed you respect. And that wasn't even earned, because to be honest with you, I don't like you. But I still did it with respect in class, because that's me. I'm sorry that's not you. Section 5, right? So we have all of this. This is more geared toward a domestic violence situation. Please, if you're in that situation, get out. Directives to law enforcement while enforcing this injunction. Unless ordered otherwise by the judge, all provisions in this injunction are considered mandatory provisions and should be interpreted as part of this injunction. So law enforcement officers that are out there that are telling people that this isn't a big deal, I beg to differ, because it says right here in the directive, and this is a direct, instruction from the courts for Lee County officers. So if you're telling this, crazy person who stalks women and who has been in trouble for selling date rape drugs, that his actions are okay by you, I mean, I don't know. Somebody said that happened. I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance. I've downloaded the evidence. I haven't had a chance to look at it. But I was told that, I was being defamed and lied on again. And I wanted to bring my receipts because I am able to do this. Violation of this injunction should be reported to the appropriate law enforcement agency. So when you report this, don't let him make you feel like you did anything bad. And that goes for any of you that are out there with the domestic violence situation, because they're going to make you feel terrible. You're a bad person. How could you do this to me? I thought you loved me. They're going to play on your emotions, all of that. Don't let them gaslight you. They're wrong. They're lying to you. They're lying their ass off just so they can save face, because their fragile little ego can't take the fact that they got in trouble and have to pay consequences for their actions. And they're going to try to blame you because they honestly can't handle the fact that they've done wrong. That's a fact, Jack. Injunction occurs and shall enforce the provisions of this injunction and are authorized to arrest, right? So whenever the police encounter this violation, they are going to go over and arrest these people right away, per the court's orders, per these instructions, per the court. The judge has said, you are to arrest these people, police officers, not coddle them, not tell them that their story about Rogan was good or something. I again, this is all hearsay at this point, but I'm like, okay, that's weird. Don't play on the political side of it. I'm fully legal. My parents were born in the United States. I'm half Mexican. I'm European. So there's that. I know a white person that should end up over there at that Alcatraz. All right. Now, I'm sorry. I was trying to be silly. It's almost over. When this occurs, the police are to issue a warrant for these people's arrest. Matthew and his wife, Noelle's arrest. The officers are to follow this to the T pursuant to Section 901.5 of Florida statutes for any violation of its provisions, which constitutes a criminal act under Section 784.0485 of Florida statutes. Let me read that again without the statute. Okay, I don't want to muddy the waters for you. I know this might be hard to swallow here. For any violation of its provisions, which constitutes a criminal act. So I would suggest you stop, because you're already going to get violated on the evidence that I have. And the rules that you have broken within this document. And that goes for the cyber stalking people too. Because just because you don't live in the state of Florida doesn't mean that I can't get a restraining order against you for what you're doing to me, for the constant harassment, for trying to contact people that I love and care about. It's not going to happen. And they're aware. I don't give a shit if they're pissed off at me or not. At least I fucking told you, which is more than you fucking did for me. This injunction is enforceable in all counties of Florida, and law enforcement officers may effect arrests pursuant to the Section 901.15 and 6 Florida statutes. The arresting agent shall notify the state's attorney's office immediately after the arrest. Immediately after the arrest. Reporting alleged violations. Now, this is for me. This is what I do as the petitioner, as the person who won, as the person who received this injunction, both of them, for as long as I see fit, which is going to be the rest of my life, because I'm not going to deal with harassment, bullying, the intimidation, being, somebody telling me I can't say something on my show. That's never going to happen. No friggin' way. So I can report these things. If the respondent, me, violates the terms of this injunction and has not been arrested, the petitioner may contact the clerk of circuit court of the county in which the violation is alleged to have occurred. I will just go straight to the judge with this. I will not bother the police with this. They don't need to be dealing with it. Unless he comes to my home and I see him physically in my resort, then no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take this straight to the clerk's office. Oh yes, you best believe this is all being compiled and taken down to the clerk's office. Yes. Yes, ma'am and sir, and anybody who doesn't deserve to be called that. All right. The clerk shall assist the petitioner in preparing an affidavit in the support of reporting the violation, or direct petitioner to the office operated by the court that has been designated by the chief judge of this circuit as the central intake point for violations of injunctions for protection. So that means they have a special spot, because these people look at this as a piece of paper and like they're not going to get in trouble if they violate it. You will. There's a separate office to deal with this, because it is a regular occurrence. Again, you're not original. You are textbook. Crazy, stalker, 100%. Okay? I'm sorry. Get some help, please. You can do better. I know you guys can. The clerk shall assist I'm sorry. I already read that part. When the petitioner can receive assistance in the preparation of the affidavit in support of the violation, the affidavit shall be immediately forwarded to the office assisting petitioner, to the state attorney of the circuit, and to the judge designated by the chief judge as the recipient of the affidavits and violations of the injunction. Procedures relating to reporting alleged violations are governed by Section 7A4.0487 Florida statutes. Respondent upon service of this injunction shall be deemed to have knowledge of and to be bound by all matters occurring at the hearing and on the face of this injunction. The temporary injunction is, if there is any, entered in this case, which there wasn't, is extended until such time as service of the injunction is affected by the respondent, right? They both got the same document. Again, I'm not reading it over. Please be kind and rewind. This has been, like, I might as well just, drop down to hell for a little while. I'm sure you all feel the same way, and I apologize. But this is the truth. You could take it, you could leave it, you could stick around. I'd love to have you. But don't you dare try to come after me or hurt me. Okay, so this was done in bold and ordered in bold. So if you give this person money, just remember that. In Lee County, Florida, done and ordered, done and done. Checkmate. Checkmate. Game over. Now, 6/26/25 was when I attended court. My video for that court date was that I did a live that night, and that was done on that date, and it's got, like a green, lowrider, and it says it's been a good day. Ice T's on it, Ice Cube is on it. Ice T's in my intro. But either way, it was a good day because the judge could see that I had shown cause for and plenty of proof and evidence, which I had already submitted to the court, but I also brought more with me, and I was granted this 6/26/25 at 10 a.m. Right, guys? Okay, so let me just put this out there for you just to give you a little bit of perspective. Court was ordered to be at 9 o'clock that morning. I think the judge gave us a good hour to present both of our sides in a fair fashion. And I appreciate that through the Florida courts. I appreciate, since I'm putting you out there, Keith Carey, honorable in my opinion, honorable Keith Carey. Thank you. Because I obviously needed this, and so do other women. So if you hadn't made the call that you did, there could be more women that are in danger. And, I really appreciate you. G. Keith Carey, circuit court judge, giving his credentials, right? He has like a number, JZAW19YV, right? There it is. Now, certificate of service is also entered into this document, right? The 6-page document. Copies were sent to Sheriff of Lee County. The petitioner, I received mine electronically because I should not be more inconvenienced than I already am, and I appreciate the courts for recognizing that for perceived victims, because I'm a survivor. Respondent, right, was served by the sheriff in open court, and he still doesn't get it, and neither does she. Served by the sheriff in open court. I mean, she realized that it was for life. I mean, he obviously hasn't come to terms with that fact. Fact, nothing alleged. The foregoing true copy of this original order, as it appears on file in the court office of the clerk of the circuit court of Lee County, Florida. Thank you to them. Now, this in small print on the bottom here, it says Florida Supreme Court approved family law form 12.980, right? V in parentheses. Final judgment of injunction for protection against stalking after notice, 315. Okay? Okay. Hey, Sasha. Welcome in, everyone. Hey, Holly. Yes, thank you guys for being here. Detroit Rock City. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, guys. Sammy, good to see you. I'm sorry. This is terrible. Like, I don't want to have to do this tonight, And just be careful putting your personal information in chat always, guys. Please, please, pretty please. I'll tell you, this is just... I'm like exhausted now. I'm glad I got that out. Yeah, it's all cringe. I mean, it's triggering. Like his voice, Holly S, is triggering. You know what I mean? Telling people, oh, you better do this. You brought this on yourself. I mean, it's just like badgering of somebody, right? Like it's so abusive. His behavior, his tone, everything about him, his gaslighting, his shaming. Amen, Freebird. We will never stop looking for Sebastian. More flyers, more billboards, more videos. Thank you, Freebird. Thank you so much, Freebird, for saying that. And, you know, this is why I started my channel, is because I know that there are people out there who know that these issues are very important, whether you dealt with it when you were little, whether you dealt with it as an adult, whether you had, you know, whether you were a teenager, you had friends that you went to their house and you're like, wow, man, I'm really lucky to have my parents, you know. I've been to people's houses like that. We've taken in people from the neighborhood like that, you know, and they could come over and eat dinner and swim in the pool. And, you know, I mean, gosh, and Sebastian should be swimming in the pool. It's summertime. He should be getting ready for school. I saw Smiley's a couple of things she posted. Really well said. It hit me, you know. Thank you, Freebird. Because he should be going to school. He should be with his dad. Hey, little Miss Sharon, thank you. Hey, KJ Mac, thank you so much. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. I really do. Mr. Ears, yes. Yes. Yeah, he's not supposed to, they're not supposed to do this. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. You cannot, even, it says even by word anymore, right? If it would have just stayed by word to begin with, it might not have turned out like this. Now, cyber stalking is taken very seriously, guys, because you don't stalk someone, like, it's weird, unless you have bad intent. You're trying to scare them or you're obsessed with them. It's very messed up. Hey, Tony Fire. Man, Tony Fire, you know what it's like if you have people be lying on you and saying you're Tony Mathis. You know? I mean, gosh, it's like ridiculous already. You know? Hey, Tina girl. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know? And Sebastian he's a chess player, by the way. He's not a chess piece. But he's been used as a pawn in all of this. He's been used as a pawn. He's not a pawn. He's a person. This is not a game. It's real life. There's actually a child out there missing. This isn't manufactured content. I don't have, you know, some kind of, what is that channel? TLC. I'm not TLC, like trying to be a true crimer. No. I'm talking about a child, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He is from Hendersonville, Tennessee. He went missing. I almost said Rogersville, Tennessee. I don't know why. He went missing from his home on Stafford Court. He has not been seen since he left the Texas Roadhouse with his mother, Katie, on February 25th, 2024. That night at the Texas Roadhouse, this gentleman in a yellow jacket had Sebastian's picture and or videos of Sebastian Rogers on his phone. There was also a green hoodie character. Looked a lot like this character. That's Katie's mom. She's a registered SO. And I swear I hate when they call it child. No, I'm not even going to say it. It's child sex abuse material. Period. It's disgusting. You don't deserve to breathe. In my opinion. They should gas all of yous. That's Sebastian. That's the last picture that we have of him. Sitting across from his mother at the Texas Roadhouse. He gets up from the booth. He goes out to his mother's waiting vehicle. He puts his seatbelt on, and they exit the parking lot. And he wasn't seen again. Sebastian liked playing chess. Sebastian liked swimming. Sebastian liked to play Magic the Gathering. Sebastian loved playing video games. He liked to play Dungeons and Dragons. He's extremely intelligent. He's handsome. He's funny. He had a lot of friends at school that loved him, loved being around him. They miss him terribly. I can't imagine how hard it has to be to walk the halls without him there. His father, Seth, says that when you see him, it's like the sun shining through the clouds. Here's some billboards that his father was okay with. Because if I didn't know this case, I would look at both of the parents and think, what do you mean what was what worth it? Like, who took this kid? What happened? I cried and you lied. Who lied to this kid? Made him cry? Why? Look how cute he is. Look how sweet he is. And just wait till you see him in the green tea video or his demeanor at the Texas Roadhouse when we don't hear anything. We just see him, his mannerisms. What did I do? I would think, oh my God, did his parents hurt him? Did his family hurt him? Did he get hurt by a friend, at school? Who made him vanish? Who are they talking about? Who took me? Wait, was this kid taken? Okay, he's missing, right? But at least these are accurate. Last seen February 25th, 2024. Exiting the Texas Roadhouse. Getting into the vehicle with his mother, Katie, and he has not been seen or heard from since. Don't shoot the messenger. Nobody to blame but themselves. Yeah, exactly. KJ Maxx says they try to soften the words and normalize that crap. It's right to call it. It's all right to call it what it is. Exactly. It's okay to, tell it how it is, right? Because how else do we communicate? I'm a very matter-of-fact person. Maybe sometimes to a fault, and sometimes I have to think, well, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I shouldn't have been so honest, because there is a certain amount, without lying, but, to kind of soften the blow. But I mean, some things you just have to say it how it is. I mean, this child, we don't know if he took out the trash or not. We don't know if he made it home or not. He might have. He might have. I think he did. But I could be wrong. I have wonderful friends who think, that he didn't make it home, and there was maybe possibly a handoff. And, I don't know. There could have been. Oh, really? Are they? Holly S? I didn't hear that. Holly S says, I hate to, but in channels, some of the channels, they're saying Jaden was found deceased. Prayers, it's not true. Oh, man. Yeah, because, I mean, like, the update that I saw right before I came up was, so thank you, Holly S. I appreciate you giving us an update. Hey, guys, feel free to do that, please, because, I can't catch everything, and especially when I'm dealing with this ridiculous crap that's taking my, focus off of these beautiful children who are missing. Poor little Jaden. Okay, Jaden Spicer, guys. Jaden Spicer. Holly S., you're a gem. Thank you. Let's see. Where did I put Jaden? All right, here's little Jaden, and this is his Aware Foundation made this. This child went missing, right? And he's been missing for now 4 days. Now, we read through some text messages last night. Somebody had posted, right? And we were trying to tread lightly. Mom and Up did a wonderful job on the panel. I so enjoy having her on my panel. She's really, really sweet and smart. And just, she's got a great voice. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I love listening to Mom and Up talk. She just has that cute voice. And, we went over this last night. I found out that from JLR that his mother's name is Felicia. Her last name, she goes by like Felicia Gross. There's another one, but it doesn't come to mind for me because it kind of fits, especially when we read something like this. And I'll just reiterate with this. I know I've read a lot to you guys tonight. I've known that this is a post from Marie Lovelace. Thanks, Marie, for giving this. And I really appreciate this because I hope that you're being honest and truthful. And I really don't have any reason to doubt you because I did see some information that corroborated this, guys, just to let you know. This is going to be my personal thoughts without presenting receipts to you. But this is why I've come to the conclusion. Shout out to Daphne that has the little canine on her channel too. She's really good. She confirms some of this, in my opinion, what I've watched on her. So this came in, and Marie Lovelace is saying, I've known that family since I was 5 years old. The bio mom never wanted him. He was took as soon as he was born because he was so full of drugs. She lost all rights to him. His granny was raising him. And I saw the granny's obituary today, guys. And I don't want to be so intrusive, right? I'll just say I saw the granny's obituary. So we'll just kind of leave it at that. We might do a deeper dive into this. I don't know. I mean, if what we're hearing is true, my Lord. This is why I don't fucking feel sorry for myself. I'm not missing, somebody didn't dump me when I was little. Okay, so anyway, Granny had him, right? But then Granny passed away 2 months ago, right? And the other granddaughter had taken custody over from Granny when she passed. And then poor little Jaden was only there with her for 3 weeks. And he was taken back to his mother, who wasn't supposed to have custody, right? Because, I mean, obviously he was born addicted and, she wasn't making good decisions for him. And so she also hadn't cleaned her act up and she wasn't allowed to really have him to the best of my understanding, right? Now, this woman is alleging that Felicia Gross, who is his biological mother, is a dope head, and she tried selling her first kid, and she gave her second kid away, right? And then obviously, this is Felicia Gross, mother of missing 10-year-old Jaden Spicer, gave police a handwritten statement to give the reporters, and she didn't want the public to know who she is, but we know that her name is Felicia Gross, right? And this is, Breathitt County, Kentucky, okay, where little Jaden went missing from. August 5th, 2025, Jackson, Kentucky, cute as a button. Doesn't like bugs, doesn't like the dark, doesn't, like any of that kind of stuff. He's not that type of a kid, right? He has a personality, and that is not his personality. And that's okay. And we all have different ones. He looks like he does like the outdoors as long as he's not in the dark, and by himself, or there's lots of bugs around, right? So here's the handwritten letter that the mom wrote. And it's just, please, if anybody sees him, my son, Jaden Spicer, please call the police department. Thank you. We love him very much. Please do the right thing. That stood out to me. We talked extensively about this yesterday. Please go over and watch our live. Mama and I did. It was really, really good, guys. And then we had a fun conversation at the end. And then this is another post. Kentucky State Police say the search crews are looking for 10-year-old Jaden Spicer, who was reported missing around 9:30 a.m. Wednesday in the Pinbull Branch Road area of Jackson, Kentucky. Jaden is believed to have left his home overnight. Here we go again. Or early Wednesday. So overnight Tuesday, to early Wednesday. He was last seen around 9 p.m. Here we go again. 9 p.m., Tuesday, August 5th, wearing blue Sonic the Hedgehog pajamas, right? And reminds me of Ganon Stout. Ganon Stout loved Sonic the Hedgehog. His life was taken by his step monster Letitia, and she's serving prison time, convicted. She's put away. Thank God for that. But this little beautiful kiddo, he liked Sonic too. He likes him. Jaden is believed to have left home overnight. Okay, sorry. Tuesday, August 5th, he was wearing the Sonic Hedgehog pajamas, and he had on. Oh, sorry, I can't read that. Oh, I'm sorry. He is white. Sorry, he's white. Obviously, he's Caucasian. We can see that. 5'1", and you don't say. Slim, right? He's slim with blonde hair and blue eyes, and he's just as cute as he can be. He's adorable. You know, being bounced around, in my opinion. The German Shepherd at the horse farm was unruly. Sasha, I'm not sure what that was, but that's funny. Just me reading that randomly. In my opinion, you fighting back against these loonies is helping the kids in a way. Thanks, Holly S. I really appreciate that. I really do. Because, I mean, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm like so behind. You know what I mean? I just feel like I'm always behind. And then like I wanted to get Miss Ann's video out to her, and I was late, and I hate being late. And so it just kind of stresses me out all the way. But it's okay because things happen for a reason, and we're supposed to. So thank you, Holly. That really means the world to me. Carla, good to see you. The 18-year-old boy missing was found deceased. Jaden is exactly like Sebastian. Oh, the 18-year-old boy. That was Giovanni. I don't know what his last name is. And I know a Giovanni. That's the reason why I know that name. That's the reason why it stuck with me, at least. Sasha said, so he's still there, but my cats are not. Oh, sorry. Sasha, I think I'm doing a personal conversation. Thank you, Detroit. Thank you. Oh, no, you got bites? You got bug bites? Oh, no, mosquitoes. They get me, too. I can't, like, sit out at twilight, or I'll just get bit up. It's, like, doesn't matter. I have to go inside. Like, I could be out all day, and then, like, you know, once the sun goes down, I'm cool. But, like, oh, yeah, I'm, like, itching now for you. You're making me itchy over here. Oh, hopefully if you can get some calamine lotion. Jaden's still missing. Thanks, Kiki. Thank you. Oh, you know, you just almost don't even know what to think at this point because it's so new. It's like, well, at least he's not deceased. I mean, damn. And, you know, and these people are like, oh, well, these tragedy comes going after parents. Well, what am I supposed to do when the mother has a record and then this child, Jaden, he's got a stepfoot? Yeah, he's got a stepfoot. And this guy has documented cases of abusing the children. Documented, like, a lot of them that were leaked out. Let me put this one. Oh, dang, I made it. I set it up for Mom and yesterday. I just want to put his picture up there for you guys, too. I'll post it up again. At least you could see his little name and the county. We'll leave that for now. Since we're switching gears. Yeah, Jaden's a cutie, right? He's cute, ain't he, Sasha? She has 7 kids, Holly S. Holy shnikes. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. I mean, you know, people have big families, but she was. Not if you're like, because it says like she never wanted kids. She's like, all of them were born addicted. And I'm guessing, you know, it's probably just because she's like really fucked up and probably spends a lot of time just whatever. KJ Max says, I have not gone far into Jaden's story, but wow, this is absolutely heartbreaking. And what a shit hand of cards to be dealt in life. These children deserve better. I mean, right, KJ Max? Like, that's the thing. Like, it's so sad. Like, if you're like, gosh, you know, like sometimes we think, oh man, we have it really rough, or like, you know, parents might be arguing because parents argue, like people argue, you know, we're human. But it's like, you know, but if you go into like a household like this and you're like, wow, so your granny's raising you, but she's sick and older, and Like, he doesn't have anybody, right? And then he only lasted 3 weeks with the granddaughter. And his aunts were saying, like, Mom and I were talking about it because she read it off to us last night, that he's, hyperactive, like they were saying about Sebastian, ADHD and stuff like that. He's really hard to handle. Well, I mean, he's a kid. They're not designed to be easy to handle. Parenting's not easy. Being a kid's not easy. We're all learning because we're at different stages of life. It's not meant to be simple. Breaks my heart too, Kiki. Oh, he is so precious. Reminds me of my son with less meat on his bones. Aw, yeah. And I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, these little kids are just so cute. 10 years old, right? Like, where could he be? And then they didn't put an Amber Alert out. Like, that was another gripe, that we had. No, this little boy's name is Jaden Spicer. Town Chat Cafe. Yeah, all the same federal crimes against victims, technically, Sasha says. Yeah, I mean, it is ridiculous that Mom won't come out and talk, I mean, he was supposedly in her care last. Again, we see that with Katie Proudfoot. So do I roast the Proudfeet? Yeah, because, I mean, obviously they're not talking. They're coming out saying rude things about Sebastian, right? I mean, so it's like, it's almost like they're baiting or something like that, but I'm not going to be hateful or be like, oh, I'm going to go to their house. And, because I don't have any reason to go to their house. Sebastian isn't there. We know that for a fact, right? So if I'm looking for Sebastian, it's not going to be at their house. It just won't be. I mean, would I go in the woods around their house? Yeah. I mean, I guess. I don't know. If I'm going off of what Craddock is saying, they just walked off into the woods, I might go search that area around the woods. I know people have checked it. I don't know exactly like how many, because people can go anytime they want. And some people are going out there and they don't have a camera with them and they're just searching for him. I do believe that, in my heart. I do. Because the woods are thick. And, a lot of those, country boys, they know the woods. They know them, they just do. They just do, because they hunt them woods and they spend a lot of time out there and they know them. And so there's no doubt in my mind that people have been out there looking for Sebastian that we don't even know about, in my opinion. Feel like she's Candace 2.0. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. And when you see these documented cases of abuse, Holly S., it's hard not to say, like, yeah, this is what's going on, right? Or believe, that way. Oh, Monday you are? That's good. That's good, Kiki. I watched your video and I shared it on the Texas Roadhouse. That was really valuable information. Yeah, we have to, Carla, right? Because I don't feel sorry doing that. Look, if people are saying that you never wanted your kid and, you just got him back 3 weeks ago, and then now he's gone, like, what am I supposed to think? You know what I mean? And I can speculate and I could say it is my opinion, and it is. I mean, I'm not judge, jury, and or executioner by any means. I'm just up here talking about it. I find a lot of the elements of true crime really fascinating. I find that some of the things that I stand for, I want to see reformed. I want to see domestic violence treated differently. I want to see child sex crimes treated differently. I want to see, people getting held accountable. I do. If you're going to do some bad things to people like, women and children, or, your significant other, if you're supposed to love someone and you're going to hurt them, you're not okay to be in society. Because you're supposed to love those people. What's to say that you're not going to hurt Joe Blow when you're walking past them? Or Jane, Snow. I don't know. Whatever. Jane Doe. Joe Blow and Jane Doe. Sasha says, yes, I'm getting eaten alive. Oh, no. You're in the garage. Oh, no. See, like, they don't come out bad at night. Like, unless the lights are on. They kind of like the lights and stuff. But I do have, like, the Centrala candles and stuff like that. Thank you, Lori. I so appreciate you being here. I do. Because like I said, when I was doing some research, I realized that people were, and I'm not going to say who, but like Don't think I'm not in those chat screenshotting things. Don't think I'm not. Don't think that people don't send me stuff, because they do. Sometimes I don't even want to see it. I'm like, oh crap. You know what I mean? Sometimes I say the F word. Aw. That's so sweet, Town Chat. Town Chat says my husband made us breakfast for our midnight snack 45 minutes ago. Usually I make it, but since I am on here, he was nice enough to get it for us. How sweet is that? That's fantastic. Yeah, Town Chat. I love breakfast for dinner, by the way. That's fun. Olivia and I used to do that all the time. Breakfast for dinner. I got a little mini waffle maker too, and that was really fun. We've done that too. KJ Max says, speaking what you know or hypothesize isn't going after someone. Why do people want to shut down speculation? What's the motive for that in these cases? Well, I think the only people that want to shut it down are people who have guilty knowledge, in my opinion, KJ Mac. I really think that's the motivation. I mean, otherwise, like, I guess just one good example that I can give. Whenever I took the picture, the still from the lights video, right, that I was sent, that was screenshotted from Justin Clutch Them Pearls, his channel, right? He and his team were working on this photo, right? And he was showing it on one of his lives, and then somebody sent it to me. And well, two people sent it to me, right? And when I did the comparison of this photo, I did Seth too, and he didn't get mad at me. He was totally okay with it. As a matter of fact, he'll come in here and say hi, and he listens, and that's fantastic, you know. Because I don't want them to think that I'm going after them. What I'm trying to do is ask you all what you think, hypothesize, theorize, come to maybe some sort of a conclusion in a way. You know, again, this is like real life, a real missing child, right? It's not CSI, it's not Law and Order. It's you know, this is real people, right? And we're talking about real dynamics and someone who's actually missing. So unfortunately, I wish I could just button it all up beautifully and at the end be the hero. I would love for that to happen. As a matter of fact, you know, I wouldn't like anything more than to say, okay, I have this theory, this is what it is, it's been sent over, and you know, the people responsible are in trouble and justice is going to be served and Sebastian comes home. You know, I mean, that would be amazing. But I also think that in this particular case, KJ Mac, the people who are who have infiltrated the case, right? And I talked about one in particular that I'm going to be talking about again, because unfortunately, you know, I know people don't get to catch everything I'm saying. And sometimes my lives are quite long, but you know, there's many people in this case that are grifting off of Sebastian's misfortune, under the you know, off of the misfortune of the case, and you know, instead of doing the right thing, they're lying and saying they, you know, have a trained dog and stuff like that. No, that's not true. That is not true, and you know it. So I'll be showing receipts on that, because there was also another missing child's case. Well, there's two little girls, and he scammed the father, right? Promised them the world. So we're gonna go over that. But this, I think the motive here is money, and also I believe the motive is you know, basically self, you know, promoting, you know, being like, oh, look, I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to, whatever, have 20,000 people. I mean, that's great. But I mean, if you're doing it just for that reason, you know, I'm not surprised that it backfired, you know, because again, what goes around, you know, comes around. So if you think that you're going to, and you reap what you sow. And so if you think you're going to be able to go, you know, sow in dirty soil and get, you know, a nice, pretty crop out of it, you're sadly mistaken, you know. And I didn't make that up. That is just, you know, scripture. So. And Kiki, thank you so much for, and everybody in here. If you have a channel and things like that, and you're covering the true crime cases, and you're doing right by these cases and really trying to figure them out, and you're advocating or spreading awareness. I really appreciate that, and I hope that that I'm not talking to you guys. That's the worst part about having to talk about all of this stuff, is because I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, or I'm like lecturing the choir, like, you guys don't deserve that. You guys want to come up here and talk about these cases because you're smart, because you're curious, because you're interested in the dynamic. You want to know more about the psychology. We like to talk about narcissists here. We like to talk about the different mental illnesses and things like that. We've touched on a lot of those subjects and topics, and I love doing that with you because you're smart. You don't want to sit in there and watch me tear anybody apart for 11 hours at a time, or even 2 or 3 hours at a time. I think most of you guys would probably find something else, that is more productive to do with your time. And that's why I love having you here, because I do want smart people, and I do want to be more selective, because I would rather have 56 people in here who love and care about me, who I love and care about, and who I know that, are good people here for the right reasons, than being here for all of the wrong reasons, and just pretending, and being quite convincing while doing it too. By the way, some of these grifters are really, really good at it. I mean, even this guy, he's making money off of his audience. This Matthew DeMauro and his wife Noelle are literally making money off of their audience, saying that they're going to go after me. So, I mean, if the audience is willing to do it, that's really not on them, it's on the audience, and that's their money to spend. But in reality, what it really comes down to is that's what's happening. Your money is being swindled from you. And I'm sorry, I'm sorry that you don't like me that much, but they're not going to get a lawyer. That it's set in stone. You can go back and read the documents. I'm actually going to put them into a video, so that way you guys can see them. So if anybody wants to reference them, or heaven forbid, gosh, because my heart goes out to this other person, right? But if you have to use them in order to prove that there's other people that, this is not an isolated incident. This is something that is that has occurred, and I'm going to put both of their paperwork in there just in case Noelle does that too, right? Look, because of what I went through, I'm not in the business of hurting another woman. Actually, I can't believe I'm going to fucking say this. Can't believe I'm going to fucking say it. I really hope that Noelle goes back to advocating like she was, like it looked like she was in the beginning. Because, like, when I went to go look at who I was dealing with, because I didn't know whether to be afraid at first. I didn't know whether to blow it off. I didn't know whether, ignore it. You know what I mean? Other than people reaching out and saying, oh my God, I can't believe he's going after you. Like, he's very dangerous, and sharing, public records with me, and, allowing for me to understand that. And I appreciate those people. Excuse me. I did my own due diligence on these people. And, what I concluded is that he is a very dangerous person, and she will do anything for him. But I think that if she went back to her content that she was doing before, and just kind of, let him do his own thing maybe, and, go for what she was doing before, there was some really good videos out there. There really was. So, in my opinion, that's just my opinion. So I hope that she does that, because, I would hate to think that I spent my life making someone else's dream come true and not my own. I mean, I'm supportive of people's dreams when I'm with them, but I don't let them consume me. I'm my own person, and they're their own person, and I want them to be successful for themselves, not for me, because I love people for who they are, not for what they have, or, what accomplishments they have, or anything like that. It's about, what's in the heart, what I perceive. And I've been wrong, been really, really wrong before. But these people can be manipulative and convincing. So I would just, that's just my opinion. I just wanted to say that. And so I didn't want to put her information out there, up here. And read it again. I mean, and further harp on it, because I think that there may be some sort of a, I don't think I've been shown proof. So I'll leave it there. KJ Max says, these claims that lunatics make about discussions and brainstorming and group speculation, all we want to do is talk and analyze is how going after them. Right. Yeah. It's somehow going after them, KJ Mac. Really well said. Yeah. It's odd as they make calls to action. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, anytime you're willing to just like bash someone, it like I said, it really says more about who you are than it is about who they are, and any one of us could, lose 30 pounds, or maybe some people are really thin and they'd like to gain 30 pounds. I grew up with one of my cousins who was extremely thin, and she was like, I hate when people call me skinny. Like, she's like, fucking assholes. And I'm like, but she was really upset. And so I couldn't be like, well, shit, I'd love to have that problem. You know what I mean? I empathized with her. Like, I was like, man, and I was like, because she's like, I do eat. And she's like, I eat. And I'm like, yeah, girl, I know you eat. Like, man, it's not okay to fuck with somebody psychologically like that and to make them feel bad about themselves, right? We are all our own worst critics as it is, and that's why these people are doing it too. A lot of them, like, they don't have anything going for them, guys. They don't, I feel sorry for a lot of them. Like, they don't have anything going, but that doesn't mean that they can't get something going. You know what I mean? Sign up for classes at the community college, take a course. I mean, again, when I got older and I was divorced and everything, I was like, I need something that is going to make me good money so I can take care of myself and my daughter, so that's why I went to real estate, because it was, like, I think I did an 8-week class, right? And then I took the test and voila, and you can make really good money doing that, So, I mean, it's never too late. Now you have to, you have to have a record where people, you're allowed to be in other people's homes and stuff. So you have to, you can't have a record. You have to really, work to, I don't know, Sasha. See, that's the thing, because he's out there. But then, like, who gives me hope is that beautiful little Claire, because she was out there for 4 days in the heat, no food or water to speak of. I mean, there's a big lake over there, but I think that if he was over there, like, he would have been found by now, right? Unless he's in the water, but they were using sonar too. So, God only knows. The stepfoot in this case is like really bad guy, like abusive. She's been charged with like neglect and things like that. She has child neglect as one of her things. And also, it's always documented whenever the children are born addicted. It's just part of it, because the nurses and stuff, they're mandated reporters. They have to document that. They don't sit there and think, oh, I hope the mom is, oh, I feel so sorry for her. No, bullshit. And I'm up here as a YouTuber, and I'm not even in that, professional position. But I'm going to try to keep it as professional as I possibly can, in this situation. But no, do I feel sorry? No, I'm documenting this. We're talking about it because it's not fair to Jaden. I don't feel sorry for her. If she's embarrassed by it, then she needs to change it. If she's embarrassed of it, then do something positive to make yourself proud of yourself. Because obviously you're shamed for some reason, right? You're shameful. You already know that. So you know right from wrong, right, Felicia? You do know right from wrong. You know, do the right thing, Felicia. Please. You do the right thing, girlfriend, because you said that somebody else needs to do the right thing when you hand wrote this letter. You said, please do the right thing. Was that some projection? You know, what is that? Because I don't care about your embarrassment. I care about Jaden and where he's at. 10-year-old Jaden Spicer, Jackson, Kentucky. Missing since August 5th, 2025. Loves Sonic the Hedgehog, and God only knows how many personal possessions he had to his name because he was dropped off at his mother's house who he wasn't supposed to be with. Just kind of, there you go. I know that you just lost Granny that was taking care of you. Here, go back to this monster and the husband, the stepfoot. Makes it hard for me to feel bad for myself. KJ Maxx is perfectly stated. I agree. It's those with some kind of guilt or guilty knowledge wanting to halt any progress. Yeah, and with Mr. Proudfoot, I mean, he is having people send him information about mods, about chatters, about creators, about anybody that talks about Sebastian's case. He wants to get their personal information so he can threaten and attack them. I'm living proof of it. Because I wouldn't know White Boy from Adam if he was, you know, I wouldn't know him from Adam. If it wasn't for Sebastian's case and he was told to come after me, I wouldn't know him. Oh, it'd be so great, Holly S., if they'd find Travis Decker. I haven't heard an update yet either. They said that there was a sighting, or somebody reported a sighting of him, but it hasn't been confirmed. And, well, they don't really know. And it's such a vast wilderness up there. I mean, I guess the one good thing is he wouldn't know, like, it would be hard for him to probably figure out if they're on his tail or not, you know, unless he saw a missing poster of himself or something. That might be the only reason why he would, you know that they were in the area or that people were aware that he was out there. But I'm wondering if maybe he's out there, you know, succumbed to the elements or succumbed to his own, you know, guilt or something like that, whatever, mental illness. And he took his own life or something like that. I don't know. Aw, I know, Sasha, but he should have been able to just go and get snacks anytime he wanted to. Like, I mean, I get it. You can't just, like, let the kids, like, do whatever the hell they want. But, I mean, like, if he's hungry, he's hungry. You know, I don't know. I was never, like, controlled to that magnitude. I mean, aw, love you too, Kiki. I don't know if that was for me or not, but. So anytime his medication made him hungry, he could eat a healthy snack. Gummies, granola bars, chips, fig bars, whatever, rice cakes. Yeah. Well, that would be a good idea. Well, and I know that, like, Chris was like, oh, he was hiding, you know, wrappers in his room and stuff like that. Like, that really makes me sad. You know, I mean, especially because Sebastian, in my opinion, with him only being 110 pounds, 5'5", I mean, I'm 5'6". If I was 110 pounds, I'd be really thin, in my opinion. Like, I just wouldn't want to be that thin. I just don't know that that's a healthy weight. Aw, thank you. Thanks, KJ Mac. That's wonderful. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Again, you know, I'm sorry that there was, you know, topics in here that I don't typically like to talk about, but I did kind of promise that we would go over it at some point. I didn't think it was going to be when I was upset. I was trying to take it when, you know, do it when I wasn't upset and just kind of explain it to you guys, because I think it's very important that you all understand how this process works and why I needed to do it, you know, because there's been a lot of speculation out there too, like, oh, well, you know, the only reason they do that is because, you know, somebody's scared. And it's like, yeah, that, but you have to prove it. You can't just be like, I'm scared, right? Because anybody can say that, and some people are convincing, right? And they could be like, I'm really scared, and you know what I mean, and they're convincing. But that's why the judge wants you to come there, and so he can see you, so he can evaluate the situation, so it can be fair for everybody. And you know, even in the documentation, it says right there, it says, like, you know, like, this hearing was held, this is how it went, it was all in accordance with these statutes, Florida statutes that are established, right? So it's all there in black and white. And I'm tired of the lies, you know? And I just want people to know that you don't have to keep putting up with this for years and years. You don't have to put up with it at all. Document it, save everything. The transcripts in Florida were very helpful to me, because digital evidence is still kind of hard to turn in through the courts and stuff like that. And so that was the key right there too, was making sure all of my evidence, all of the transcripts were documented, right? I screenshot them, I highlighted them, I submitted them very, very organized and nicely in there. I established a timeline of events. You know, I screen grabbed, you know, that proof. This happened on YouTube on this day. Now, if it's a post, it's hard because it'll be like 10 days ago or something like that, you know, so you have to also be like, okay, this occurred on, you know, 3/4/78, you know, whatever. I don't know, I said 78. But you know, you have to give dates. You know, I had to do all of that. This judge did not just say, you know, okay, Miss, you know, blank, this is, you know, on your word, right? It was like, no, because if it was just my word, what they would have had, what they would have done is they would have never issued the petition at all until court. So they wouldn't have put a temporary order in place. In other words, I'm sorry, I got a little bit tongue tied there, but yeah. So the initial order would have never been put in place had it not been for the evidence that I presented to begin with. Right? They would have said, okay, we're going to hold a hearing and listen to what you both have to say, but we're not going to put a temporary order in place because we don't see that there's any evidence to facilitate that, right? Or to warrant that. And so, but because I presented all of the information for them and screenshots and everything and transcripts and highlighted and organized it all, that's why they were like, temporary order, absolutely. Unequivocally, you know? And then when I got there, they said, yes, he has been stalked. You know, he and his wife both have stalked you. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And she was acting irate in the court too, you know? So that was another thing. I mean, it's a dead giveaway, right? You hang yourself in that manner because the judge is like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? You're like supposed to behave yourself when you're here. If you're acting like that, you know, if you're acting like that in front of me, then how are you acting when I can't look, or, you know, when there's no proof, right? I mean, and they documented everything that they did to me. So, I mean, it was very easy. Yeah. Criminals are bold. They're bold and brazen. And they don't understand the wrong that they're doing. You know? But once they're held accountable, then maybe sometimes they can realize and understand the ramifications of their actions, and that any of your actions will produce a consequence, whether it's positive or negative. Most of that is always taught when we're little, right? Like, we understand that, you know, on a small level, and then we can apply it later in life to different situations. You know, we always have someone to listen to. That's one thing my dad always told me, you know, he's like, no matter what in your life, you're always going to have to answer to someone. If it's not me, it's your mother and I, it's going to be, you know, your boss. It's going to be, you know, God, right? There's times where you have to conform and understand that there's rules and you have to abide by them. And when you don't, then you're in trouble. and we all do. And then we test those boundaries, right? As young adults or whatever, sometimes we make a bad decision that we never should have made, just point blank and, honest. So, but it's funny to me because like I was in the, this community researching, and I had asked a question and I got attacked, but people were like attacking me, but then they were like, oh, you stabbed somebody, or you're, how does it feel to be married to a murderer, all this crap. And I'm like, if you really think that I did that, like, wouldn't you be afraid of me though? So it just goes to show that they don't even believe their own bullshit lies. They know it's not true. They're just spreading it around because it's easy to, and then somebody could be like, oh, did you really do that? And it's like, no, I didn't, but okay. You know what I mean? No, but are you going to believe me if I just tell you no? I mean, you're going to want me to show you, right? It's just like this. They were saying things like, I like to run around, without any clothes on in front of children. They were saying things like, I had all these warrants and law enforcement was, I was wanted and law enforcement was looking for me, and, they can't have criminals in their town, and, calling me big lipped and everything like that. As if I can help it, like, it's not like I get Botox injections in my lips. Like, my lips are my lips. I can't help it. I can't help what I look like unless I went and got plastic surgery. Which I don't think I really need that at this point, but I mean, maybe someday I'll get a freaking facelift. I don't know. It's not up to them though to tell me. Like, I'm not going to do that because somebody else told me to do it. I'm going to do it because I want to do it for myself. If somebody tells me you need to change your appearance, you need to do this, you need to get bigger, tots or something, and I'm like, I like my tots the way they are, plus it would hurt my back or whatever, I mean, I wouldn't do that for somebody else. I'd say kick rocks and find somebody who has big tots if that's what you want, go get it. Get you some, please, by all means, because I'm not trying to be anywhere that I'm not wanted, nor do I want to be with somebody who doesn't want me, kick rocks. Just don't come crawling back and be like, oh, I should have, no, it's not how it works. Sorry. Screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice, shame on me. Uh-oh, Scranton, did I miss something? Sorry. Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing to Town Chat. Hey, Andrea, good to see you. Yeah, Scranton. Hey, if you guys want to start a channel and you want to come up here and talk, please do. Because, I mean, a lot of you guys are very, very intelligent, articulate. Just be careful. Just be careful and just be mindful that, there's going to be some whack jobs, especially if you talk about Sebastian. The whack job, in my opinion, is his stepfather, Chris. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me a second. I'm just going to go. Oh, I'm obviously a little out of sorts, so I'm gonna grab a smoke. Give me a second, please. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Alrighty. Robbie, thank you for being here. I appreciate you, being here and catching up on everything. I'm sorry, it's not our typical Saturday Night Live, with true crime and, trying to discuss these cases. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, because I know Rob Beanie's the one that won the mini mystery, and she was really had me sweating. I'll just say that, because I was like, oh gosh, she's gonna figure all of it out before I even, before anybody gets a chance, because she is really, really good at paying attention to the details and stuff like that. So really cool. And again, guys, I want to do things like that with you. Since we have a small group, that's what's really nice, that we could do that now. because hopefully someday that I'll have more people, and I'd like that, but I want the right people. I want to attract people with good intentions, not bad ones. And I don't want to be associated with anybody that would hurt or jeopardize a child's case by putting themselves first. Bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay. Cinderella says, I have always been small and also hated being talked about in my weight. Yeah, Cinderella, I would always say, would you just say that to a heavy person? No, so don't say that to me. Amen, Cinderella. See, that's the way to stick up for yourself, where you're not being mean back, right? You're not like, well, you're a stupid head, poop head, you're not in grade school, right? No, you say, hey, look, this is where I'm coming from. Would you say that to a heavier person? No, because you wouldn't want it to hurt their feelings. So just because I'm thin and you think that that's okay, it still hurts my feelings. Yeah. Thanks, Cinderella, for sharing that, because, again, it's just anytime you're trying to give somebody a negative self-image. And look, we can all gain weight. We can all lose weight. We can all, do all this stuff, right? But once you've already, sold your soul and you're a bad person and you're bad to the bone, not like our Bill Barbone, bad to the bone. He's a bad ass, okay? Our Detroit Rock City. But, I'm saying when you're really a nasty person and you really just get off on other people's misery, there's, in my opinion, and if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s doing this, then I don't know. I hope better for you, but I'm not going to bank on you changing at that juncture, right? Because all of us know that as we get older, we're friggin' more and more stubborn and set in our ways. It is very sad. It's sad, Sasha. And Town Chat Cafe, I meant to tell you, you look smashing in blue, my darling, smashing. Bye, Felicia. Cinderella. I have to say bye, Felicia, for this mama. Do I like to go against a fellow mom and a woman, especially a young lady that I just think, I think of more of like mothering a young lady like this one. You know what I mean? She's young. I don't know. She doesn't look old to me. She looks like she's in her 20s. Somebody said Holly S said she's got 7 kids though. So I'm like, holy Moses, which is all right. Nothing wrong with that as long as you take care of them. But yeah, that's Felicia. Her last name, she goes by Gross. So that's the one I remembered. Oh, okay. Another channel's audio, probably. Okay. Thanks, Cinderella. Foot likes to go after people that are scared of him. Yeah, KJ Mack. He thinks I'm afraid. I'm like, oh my Lord, Just because I'm a woman, I'm weaker too. Like, I think that they think that, oh, if I go after a weak woman, she's going to be scared. And, and this one seems like she's nice and soft-spoken. And, I'm going to see if I can't razz her up and, get her tail feathers, wrinkled. And KJ Max says he's really not much of a tough guy. That's why he gets on the overly emotional, shaky voice. Yeah, to Carly, yeah. And, that's the thing. Like, the way that he was speaking, his voice was trembling and he was very angry. Like, he wanted to say something about me, and he kept saying lady, and this, and just, especially when he was talking about my manager, and then went after Justin indiscriminately because he was blaming him instead of, me. That he thought that was going to be okay. Now, last time I checked, I'm the only one that this person manages for. She's a beloved mod for a lot of channels, but mine's the only one she manages. Yeah, he's had to keep his mouth shut too long. He must have sent his daughter home, in my opinion. I'm thinking that's probably it too, Rob Beanie, because I know that he went dark and those were his words. He went dark back in June to about July when Faith was there. But see, he wants everybody else to do his dirty work for him. And, you know, when we're dealing with drug addicts, you know, like someone like Crabtree, who's disenfranchised, you know, he just lost his father. And you know, I'm sad for that. Like, I lost my father in 2023. You know, my biological dad, he passed away. I lost my mom in 2006. She passed away. So I understand losing a parent. You know, I would never want to be in the same club with somebody like that because, you know, or have them, you know, in the same club as me because it's not a good one to be in, you know. It's sad because we love our parents and they're the ones that taught us our values, or they were there for us, or they clothed us and fed us and loved us, you know. But when you're dealing with somebody like that, I mean, they're gonna, it's dirty deeds done dirt cheap, you know. It is. It's dirty deeds too, like done dirt cheap. Because when you're an addict, you're not worried about how much money you're going to have in the long term. You're just trying to find enough money to get you through, right? So in order for you to be able to stay, you know, stabilized and regulated, you know, or to get yourself, you know, to a place that you want to be. That's the mentality of an addict, you know, and we're dealing with a lot of those, in my opinion. You know, I have proof of other people telling me those things. Close people in you know, in their circle. But here's the thing. I don't wish that kind of thing on anybody. And if they can get themselves clean and, you know, sober headed, then they can understand that their actions are causing the turmoil in their life and it's not anybody else's fault besides their own, you know. And you're not being punished for when you lose a loved one like that. Like, you know, that's not a punishment. That's just a part of life, you know. And my heart goes out to somebody that just lost a parent like that, of course. But, you know, I'm a little hard pressed to, you know, do a kumbaya for somebody who's sending, you know, my stalkers money to keep stalking me. That's where my compassion level ceases a little bit and protection mode comes into play. Because I'm sorry, I'm not going to protect you over me or my family or my friends or good people who don't have those issues. I'm not saying people who have those issues are bad people. They're not. Typically, they're good people. And I've lost good friends of mine, good people that were there for me to that sort of thing. As a matter of fact, I was very young when I lost a friend to an H overdose. Detroit Rock City says, OMG, I feel so much better. Oh, good. Effing mosquitoes need a glass of wine and a puff. That's hilarious. Oh, goodness. I'm so glad that you feel better. Girl, it is. It's like, you know, oatmeal baths are good, too. When you're itchy. Oh, man. That's the worst, though. I hate being itchy. And then I'll, like, scratch, and I'm like, oh, dang it. Now I'm bleeding. You know, it's like you're not supposed to scratch them open. The foot came back on the woodwork again. Did I get that correctly? See, I didn't think the foot came out of the woodwork. I don't think so. Oh gosh, I hope to God if they did, they had a normal conversation about Sebastian for once, made it about him. You know, maybe, I don't know. Oh, I see, Cinderella. Yeah, and that's another thing. Oh, let's call and get, you know, the children scared, and, you know, for no good reason. For no good reason, just because we don't like somebody. Just because we don't like them. Let's go after them. Let's go after their kids, you know? What's wrong with you? These other creators didn't have anything to do with Sebastian going missing, by the way. None of us did. So, there's that. None of us are in charge of investigating it either. So it's not we're, you know, should be held accountable for anything, really. I mean, we could speculate and do what we do here, you know. And again, I just want to reiterate that anybody that says, oh, these people think they're going to do something. Yeah, there's been a lot of cases where it was actually solved by YouTubers and TikTokers. And I just have to point to Gabby Petito, Riley Strain, and Chris Watts. You know, that's how we had the proof. Did Faith have to go back to school? That would be why she's back online. Or he's back online. Well, I mean, you know, I would imagine, I don't know when school's starting for all these kids, guys, because I don't have a little one. We need mom and when do the kids go back? Or calling all moms, when do the kids go back to school? I know it's different in different places too, you know. And sometimes like in you know, areas where there's like snow days and stuff, they might, you know, have to go longer in the summer and things like that. So again, it's hard to gauge. I know tax-free weekend was this weekend for a lot of people, and people were talking about that. And they always do that like right before back to school. So that way, you know, you can get school clothes and stuff. Scranton. Thank you. Girl, I'll tell you, one of these days I'm going to have to, you know, do... It scares me, though, because some of those people come out, and I'm like, oh, man. Meg Ryan, I was always a lady that I thought was really, really pretty, and then she, like, did that with the lips and got them all big, and I was like, oh, no. But, you know, it's to each his own, and whatever makes somebody feel good about themselves, you know? Like, they have to look at the mirror, in the mirror at themselves. But I think that people should focus more on, like, what's on the inside. Because, like, again, in true crime, even when we see some of these cases where there's, like, a really nice-looking person and you think you could trust them, or, you know, you trust them because they don't look like a monster, right? And then you find out that they really are one. Well, and that's the thing, Kiki. Yeah, what kills me is people don't even have a room to talk at all. Yeah, it's just girl. I know, and that's the thing. I mean, and then they don't go up there and show themselves every night and show their mannerisms and speak and, you know, make a mistake. I wrote down something the other day. I was trying to find it really quick. It was like F all the people who are never wrongs. Yeah, F all the never wrongs. Here it is. As I said F all the never wrongs. You know. Because those are the people that'll just sit there and be like, oh, I'm never wrong, I'm always right, and, you know, and they'll never admit when they're wrong. They'll never tell their audience, look, I'm so sorry, or hey, I shouldn't have done that or anything. No, they just hide behind the avatar. They talk shit on people all fucking day long, and, you know, they just sit there, you know. I'll put some sort of picture of you know, somebody who doesn't look anything like me, and then I'll make fun of everybody's looks and weight and, you know, everything. You know, oh, look at the way they talk, look at the way, you know, you can't win. And heaven forbid they hear, you know, somebody in the background, oh, who's that? Who's their kids or their husband? Oh, I wonder if their husband would, you know, have sex or whatever with me. You know, I mean, what the hell is it? Excuse me? Like, to me, I don't do that to another woman. That's a low down. That's low down. Aw, thank you, KJ Mac. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, and I always told everybody, I'm not a beauty influencer. Like, I wish I knew how to do makeup better. Miss Sharon, you guys, thank you. I really appreciate that, you know, and like, we all have things to bring to the table, you know what I mean? We all have a purpose in life. Like, don't ever let somebody take your purpose away, you know, because that's the first thing they're going to attack is your looks. They're going to, you know, hit you with a cheap shot, a low blow, and try to like break you down like right there. Boom. You know, who do you think you are? Boom. You know, and you're like, well, who do I think I am? I know who I am. So it's not about who I think I am. It's about who I know who I am, you know, and I don't know. They don't show who they are. Yeah, come up here. Yes, we need to talk Sebastian, Kiki. I mean, see, and that's the thing. There are so many great people out there that I want to associate with, network with, collaborate with, you know, compare notes with, like, you know, people that I know are just solely trying to figure this out, right? People that have, like, that kind of, you know, the wheels turning, right? And it's like, oh, well, what about this? You know, I love that. That's why I like interacting with you guys a lot, because I know it, you know, we're not always supposed to. Oh, Lori. So Lori says I'm at a total loss. So when I was doing research, Krama Chronicles added you. She didn't do like a hashtag, but she put at Lori in your name, and she was like, it was something pertaining to me, and I just felt so horrible, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? And then I saw little Miss Sharon, like she had said something like, lady doesn't have warrants or something like that, and he was like, you better watch it, Sharon, and I was like, oh my god, like, you know what I mean? Like, why? What for what? Just because? I mean, it's not like she went in there and was like, hey, you blah 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 blah, nothing like that. Like, it was a respectful comment, just disagreeing. So I didn't know like what had transpired or why that occurred. And here's the thing with these people, they're really not well. They're really not well. We heard from Krama Reels, Minnie, and she is a very mentally ill individual, and it's sad. I hope she gets help. I really do. But for her to, start doing the @ symbol at subscribers and moderators and things like that, it's a whole nother level like of low down trash, in my opinion. And no, it's not acceptable. You didn't deserve it. If you want to email me, Lori, I can send it to you. I just screenshotted it today. Because again, I have to keep going over all of this and gathering the evidence up. Because I was going to let it ride since I obviously, checkmate. I was going to just kind of see how it went. I didn't want to continue on, right? But when the lies keep perpetuating and they're violating the order, that's when I have to make sure that I cross all my T's and dot my I's, right? Because like Minnie, aka Krama Rails, lives in California, right? I know their addresses because I'm gonna have to serve them with the paperwork because it's continuing, right? And they're doing it a third party, and I have established this restraining order, both of these restraining orders in Florida, right, in the state that I live in. On a federal level, it's different, right? So that's why I went to the cyber stalking division, because they were using their clearance, and I have proof of that because Tiffany Franks Grace's gavel, right, also known as Krama Chronicles, she had used her military clearance to find out where I live. And so that right away was something that obviously the federal government would be involved in, right? Because if she used military clearance to stalk someone and to dox someone and to help facilitate stalking, then that can get you in a lot of trouble, right? Even if you're not an active military member, if you're just former military. So that's the thing, and so. And again, she was in cahoots with Terry Lynn, Forever Nikki's mom, Minnie. It was all together. So Stephanie Lynn Beveridge, which is West Virginia. See, so I have stalker West Virginia. I have stalker in California. I have stalker here that's physically here, and that's why they had him go after me, was in order to get close, right? Give Matthew Dominic DeMoro and his wife Noelle DeMoro, or Masuri, my personal information, and so they can come over here and stalk me for these people, right? And then, by the way, we're giving it to Chris Proudfoot because that was said during his live when he did it to me. It was said multiple times when he came here. It was also said multiple times in the name of Summer Wells and Candace and Dawn. Also, when they broke the restraining order by going after my manager, right? Because they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to do that because this is more of like a workplace stalking sort of a thing, right? Because technically we work at the same place, which is YouTube, right? We're all YouTube creators. You don't deserve, none of you deserve that, and I don't know why you were singled out like that, but I felt terrible. I was just like beside myself. That's one of the reasons why I decided to share this tonight, because I think that people need to understand that this is not a game. It's serious. For one, Sebastian is missing. First and foremost, Sebastian is missing. Number two, I am a survivor of domestic violence and I've been re-victimized. Same goes for the other person I mentioned. And I'm not telling anybody else's details. But I think that needs to be at least said. It's not okay. It's not okay. And then the parents of the missing child are the ones that are saying, yeah, send me the information. I did a video about it. I clip those things for a reason, because it's very easy for me to retrieve them when I need to. I already have active reports with the Cyber Stalking Division. Louisiana is where Tiffany Franks lives, right? Terry Lynn lives in Tennessee. Chris and Katie Proudfoot live in Tennessee. So therefore, that would become federal stalking, cyber stalking. So, I wasn't going to add Chris and Katie Proudfoot into any of this until Matthew Dominic DeMoro brought them into it several times, right? I didn't see him sending my personal information to Don Wells or Candace. Maybe he did. Certainly saw him do it to me and Jude on his live. I mean, it's ridiculous. Thank you, Carla. Hey, Seclusion Works. Thank you. Kiki says they're just hating. Well, hey, I'm not going to be pretty forever. I'm going to get old too. And, I'm maybe wrinkly. My forehead's already wrinkly because I do that eyebrow thing. You know what I mean? It's like, but you have laugh lines. Like it says where you're from, right? Like embrace it, right? We could be healthy and everything and do skincare and all that's good. But I mean, really, to just point everything out. Oh, look at her. Look at this filter. Does she have a filter on here? So what if the fucking person has a filter? Is it your face? Is it your show? Are you up there with a microphone? Because you don't show yourself. We don't even know who the fuck you are. But you're going to bitch at somebody else for not having a filter, or about having a filter? Excuse me. Seriously? Seriously? Oh, 5-second link. You know what, Town Chat? I can't click out of here. I can't click out of here. Otherwise, I'll lose you guys. Oh my goodness. Rob Beanie. Rob Beanie says, when I was little, my aunt was going through a breakup and she said it was because she was fat. And I said, that just means there's more of you to love. And so she said that made her feel really good. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, look, if somebody doesn't love you the way that you are, one thing that I really had to learn at a young age, because my mother passed away when she was 49 years old. And my parents were married for 25 years. And if my father would have left my mother because she was sick with cancer, it would have devastated me. And it would have really made me think differently of the world, honestly. And so the fact that he stood by her, again, it always made me consider that. Like, if you're going to call me names and say that you don't like me how I am now, but you say, but you're with me, you said you want to be with me, then what happens if, I go through a horrible disease, I mean, people survive all the time. Sometimes we lose our tatas, sometimes we lose our hair, as we get older, we have ailments. Sometimes we can't walk anymore. Sometimes, heaven forbid, sometimes you have a stroke and you have dysplasia in your face. Could you imagine leaving somebody like that? I couldn't. Not if I said, till death do us part. No. No. Because, also you think of the golden rule. If you wouldn't want it done to you, why would you do it to somebody else? How would you like it? So, I mean, people have open stuff and all that too. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, if somebody's like Robini's saying, well, because, you're too fat or whatever. What an asshole. What a jerk. And it says more about that person than how shallow they are, you know? I love Billy Crystal. Town Chat. Town Chat. It's true. Yeah, it's true crime, just a different type. It's federal. Yeah, it is. It's criminal too. You're not allowed to stalk people and harass and bully them. You're not allowed to do it. Because the problem is that some people internalize that and they could take their life because of it, right? And so people have put legislation and bills and laws and things in order because they've lost a loved one because somebody thought it would be cute to continuously. Excuse me, I'm sorry guys, my stomach. To continuously fuck with somebody until they take their own life. I mean, that's the goal, right? Is to hurt them as bad as you possibly can. Let's take something that they told me in confidence and vulnerability, and let's spread that shit around everywhere. Well, I'm here to tell you, I got a lot of stuff you told me in confidence and vulnerability too. Just saying. I save everything because of that. Because of my trauma, I save everything. And I don't only have it digital, I got it backed up. Back it up. Robini. I love the dabbing. Robini's always dabbing in the chat. I love it. I love that. Those little characters are cute. Seclusion says if you were to look at me 5 foot tall, a chubby face with a grin on my face, you'd never guess what I do as a career or my intellect. Hey, and that's the thing. Don't judge a book by its cover, Seclusion. You know what I mean? Let people show you who they are. Because they will. They will eventually. The mask will drop, or you'll be like, good. Oh, it is the person that I thought they were. And I mean, everybody has disagreements, things that don't, work out. There's always things like that. There's even business things, or sometimes, like you might have somebody up on a panel and it's like, oh, well, I don't think we should do that again. You know what I mean? And that's okay. That doesn't mean like it's personal. That doesn't mean that you hate that person. That doesn't mean that you stalk that person. That doesn't mean you harass them. That doesn't mean that you have to make it public. You don't want to shame or embarrass somebody. You're parting ways. It's not a good fit. That was always like a really good thing as a manager when I had to fire somebody, because I hate firing people. That was the least thing that I like to do. Because, especially like if I knew that person and they had like a family, and man, it was tough. And, but I would just say, these are some of your really strong qualities, but it's just not a good fit for us. And, I'd be happy to give you a positive recommendation and, things like that, because you don't want to wreck somebody. Again, that's a sensitive subject. Some people love to go in there and just fuck somebody up like that. Not me. I don't. It doesn't make me feel good. And as a matter of fact, it doesn't make me feel good to talk about this. It's triggering. It's re-victimizing me, even though I know that I'm strong and everything like that. It sucks. And I also think of other people's feelings too. So even if they're not thinking about mine, somehow I don't know why, but I think of theirs too. And if I care about you, I care about you. I might distance myself from you, but that doesn't mean I don't care about you. That doesn't mean I'm going to let somebody hurt you, or if I know that what their intentions are and they've mentioned your name and sent me shit from you and all that. I mean, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be like, look, we need to talk. Think I like having that conversation? I didn't. I didn't. It's not the outcome that I was hoping for. Hey, Kathy Bartholomew, but I'm glad that we were able to have a solution. At least that I tried to have your back even when you didn't have mine. Because some people are too scared. And I understand that. you know, it reminds me of that movie Beaches. I don't know. You guys probably know that movie Beaches. That's me. Me and Livy love that movie. But it's about two friends that grow up together and they're pen pals. And then when they get old enough, they kind of live together when, you know, they're in college and things like that, right? One of them's an actress, Bette Midler, and Barbara Hershey. She's a attorney for the ACLU, right? Very privileged kid. And then you have, you know, Bette Midler, you know, child actor from Atlantic City. Really funny. And, you know, in a cute movie. The two of them get into an argument in their adult life. And I mean, they've been friends for years, right? And so, you know, child pen pals, everything. And been through a lot together. Well, they part ways for a little bit, as sometimes friends do. But then they reconnect, but not without hashing out their, you know, differences, right? You know, you hurt me, and yeah, you hurt me, and, you know, things like that, right? But Barbara Hershey says something to Bette Midler. She says, I don't know how to fight back. I'm not strong like you are, you know? And that was one thing that she always thought, like, you know, she admired about her friend. Like, I have this strong friend and I really, you know, admire her, right? And it's hard to admit that sometimes, but sometimes that's why God puts, you know, each other in our lives. You know, maybe it was to, you know, simmer her down and her to step it up a little bit, right? You know, I mean, maybe it was to say, like, you can be strong too, like you are strong too. You know, but again, sometimes people don't have the capacity to hurt somebody else like another person does either. Like, so it's something to consider. Sometimes people will say things when they're angry, you know. I'm guilty of it. I heard she is too, Cinderella, and I'm just thinking that the parenting plan would be the same because they usually try to keep it consistent, right? You know, because that's the best thing for the kids. Um, yeah, Delphi was a terrible scene, and the girls were young. Sasha, yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's already enough tragedy that we talk about without, you know, creating more. You know. Yeah, and that's the thing too. When the family is well known, absolutely. That's interesting. Seclusion says, I don't think the guy in Delphi was a first time strike. Well, you know, we're finding out about that Devil's Den guy, the teacher, the third grade teacher. Yeah, apparently he's being looked at in connection with another crime. They're thinking he might be a serial killer. Really, really scary. Really scary thought that people like that walk amongst us, you know? Thank you, Sasha. Sasha said, or Lori says, yes, back to school and hurricane season, sales and tax free here in Florida. I heard we have it the whole month, which is really cool. You know what I mean? Really, really cool. Because in Missouri, it's just for the weekend. So you have to be like, okay, this is the tax free weekend. We have to go, like, you know, plan for it and stuff. Like, it's a little bit more relaxed with the month. And also, laptops are included. So it's like perfect timing for me. I'm excited. I asked Livy if she was going to buy anything cool with the tax-free weekend, but I couldn't remember when it is in Missouri. I need to Google it. Oh, Kathy Bartholomew says where I'm at, school started back on July 30th. Interesting. Cool. Thanks for letting me know, guys. Yeah, because I don't know. You know, I don't know about all that with the little ones, with the chillins. You know, Detroit, that was happening to me. Detroit said the live went all black. That was happening to me the one night in Betty's chat. It was funny. Not the last time that I was in, but the time before that. And I remember SI officers saying the same thing in this chat. Hey, twists and turns. And he's saying, dang it, lady, I keep going black. And I'm like, really? That's weird. You know, I was like, try to, turn your phone off and on. Because that's what I did today when the stream, was buffering. So... really, seclusion. Oh gosh, Seclusion Work says, "Lady, my friends disappeared when I received my diagnosis." See, I don't understand that. Sometimes it's so painful for people, you know. Sometimes it's just so painful for people. I'm so sorry, Seclusion. Yeah, and you find out who your friends are, you know. You do. When you're going through hard times, you find out who your friends are. Somebody's willing to stick by you, or you know, if your car breaks down and you need to call them for a ride, you know. Heaven forbid you need bail money. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, just yeah, you need somebody to love you. You need somebody to visit with you. You know, that's the best thing you can do for a friend if they're going through something like a tough diagnosis. Is like to just be there for them and talk to them and say, how are you doing? Check on them, things like that. You know, it's important. It's so important. And Seclusion, we're here for you here, just so you know. Um, I value all of you guys as human beings in a community. I don't look at you guys as like an avatar. I don't look at you guys as like a cartoon. I look at you as people, because I'm hoping that you're not a bot. You know, I'm hoping we don't have a bunch of fembots, but you know, maybe we do. But I don't think we do. I think we're all people, and some of you have shared some of your stories that, to me, you maybe wouldn't feel comfortable sharing that in a different space, and I appreciate you entrusting your story with all of us, you know, in this community. I could care less what all of those other people think. I really could. I really couldn't care less. But when it comes to going real life and going after people, and I just can't have it, you know. Oh, really, Lori? My daughter's best friend just found out she has cancer in 5 to 6 parts of her body. She only is 40 years old. Aw. So we were waiting for more testing to come back. Yeah, Lori, that's so sad. I was actually telling a friend the other day, that's kind of how my mom's came about, but they said she had lupus, of all things. It's weird. And then come to find out, she had stage 4 metastatic cancer. Which, if you guys don't know what metastatic means, it means that it moves everywhere, right? So it went, you know, everywhere. Her brain, her bones, everything. And she fought like hell. She fought like hell. My Missouri mom just kicked cancer's ass like a champ. She had breast cancer, you know, had a double mastectomy. And she's doing great. But then her granddaughter was diagnosed with leukemia, little Aaliyah, you know? So, gosh, you know? So many people have passed away from cancer. It's like crazy. My ex-mother-in-law, we lost her back in July, you know? That's my daughter's grandmother. You know, she always will be. So, our differences don't matter. In the grand scheme of things, especially when you think of somebody not being here anymore. You know what I mean? Aw. Thanks, Detroit. Hey, I was trying to make it so they wouldn't ban it in the territory, and it did get banned in the territory. But I thought it was gonna be like for the Rolling Stones more so, or like Grateful Dead. But really, what it was Patti Loveless. Of all people, she's like, oh hell no, that's my material. And she has such a beautiful voice, and that was the song that Miss Ann had sent me, Detroit. So thank you. And then I just kind of looked up a couple of different Grateful Dead songs that I liked. Well, a Dead song that I like, and then Wild Horses. You know. Oh, that's right. And I did put Touch of Grey. That's one of my favorite songs, and I know it's like more of a commercialized song, but I love that song by the Grateful Dead. It really picks me up, you know, and it's like, you know, we're gonna get by, we'll survive, you know, and I just love seeing Jerry's cute little self and like his chubby little cheeks, you know. I love it. He's just like, yeah, he's cool. It's so young, Kiki. Yes. It is so young. And I mean, that's the thing. We never know. Like, we could go to the doctor and be like, I'm not feeling good. Like, that's what my mom thought. She had a stroke. And she was like, I just couldn't remember getting from my van to the front door of our house, right? The house that I, grew up in. For, when I was in junior high, we had moved. And so like 7th grade, I guess I was been on. But it wasn't very far. It was probably like 30 feet. We had a very long driveway, and she was out there cleaning out the van and stuff like that. My mom's like a total cleaner, neat freak. Like I told you guys, Navy brat, and so, but she couldn't remember that happening. And I mean, it was just fast, guys. It was fast. 2 years, and it took her, and she fought the whole time. That's right, and you'll meet new people too. Seclusion says, instead of allowing it to destroy me, I continue to work in my field and special adoptions, and that's the thing. God doesn't close one door without opening another. Sometimes people are only supposed to be in our lives for a season or two, and teach us what we need to learn, and then they move on, or we teach each other. And then we move on. So there's always a silver lining. Robini, I love that. I'm not a hot mess. I'm a spicy disaster. A beautiful disaster, Robini. I love it. That's so funny, Lori. Yeah, Lori, we're going to be praying for you too. And oh gosh, I just cannot believe that. That's so sad to hear. I hate that. That's right, Kiki. Seclusion is strong. Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing that kind of, as you go through life, you learn like, okay, whatever doesn't, take me out, it's going to make me stronger, right? So just keep on keeping on. But yeah, well, and the thing is it's in connection with the missing child's case, Sasha. You know what I mean? And they're giving personal information of people who are talking about the case to the stepfather who may or may not have guilty knowledge. I mean, that's the thing. Like, and he's the one that wants it. And he even said in the video that I did that's what the goal is. We're gonna let we're gonna go find out where these people live. That's what he said. I didn't make it up. You know what I mean? I don't need to make up lies on these people. They did enough to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Sasha says, yes, it is federal. And that's what I'm saying. This is not good for these morons, in my opinion. And, in my opinion, it's not smart to keep going with it. Like if you're already reprimanded, you kind of stop, right? You don't keep going. And you certainly should read the stipulations within the paperwork, because when you don't, you're not allowed to go after my manager. That's a violation. There are several violations, actually. And that's the thing, too. I'm not going to try to take things to the court until I understand and have the proper documentation in order for them to be able to make the best and quickest decision possible, right? Because I'm not trying to gum up the works in the court system. There's nothing that I dislike more than to take resources away from women who are being beat up by their husbands, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, the kids are witnessing it. I would rather them be safe too, right? But I have to also worry about my safety and my kids and my family and my friends. And you guys, I mean, look, I can't believe it, and it shouldn't be that way. I mean, hell, you guys are just spectators in a chat, right? And you guys come in, you support me, you like to listen to about Sebastian. We go back and forth, we have good banter, but that doesn't mean that you should be scared. So they want, though, because that's the thing. If they attack you, then you might say, well, I'm going to shy away from Lady Freedom because I don't want to be associated with it, and I don't want them pulling my details in on the chat and reviewing it and stalking me or harassing me, right? So, and if you've given your phone number to any of the people I've mentioned tonight, you might consider. I mean, that's one of the major ways that people can find out who you are, at the very least, who holds the bill for, your phone. And then, just be careful. I mean, and that's another reason I can't just like act like this is not happening or be like, well, I'm safe, so who cares? You know what I mean? I can't. I'm not going to do that, especially not after I saw what I saw today. I've been really disappointed too, Cinderella. You know, that's why I had to take a couple days off because, you know, I don't want to get up here and scream and yell and be like, ah, you know, even though I think I got kind of loud earlier. But I don't know, Sasha, and I don't know why you would do somebody's dirty work for them, especially when you're already in trouble. Like, I'd be like, okay, I'm done. Sorry, I tried, you know, or something. I don't know. I don't do things for other people like that. You know, I'm not a chimp. I'm not a chump. I'm not I mean, I handle my own business. So I expect other people to handle their own business. But in the same way, when you're violating an order, you know, going after someone else because you can't go after me, but you didn't realize that it says it in the order that you can't do that either. It's a bad deal. Lori, people can be so cruel. People can be so cruel and heartless, and really it's in some of the ruthlessness, or how somebody told me it can be relentless, so you probably shouldn't, you know, say on YouTube. That's not right. That's not right, and I proved them wrong because I did the right thing. They didn't do the right thing. I didn't deserve what happened to me. I never deserved what happened to me. Never. And nobody will ever make me feel guilty or shameful that this happened to me. No one will. No one will. Nope. No. And if I see somebody who needs clarification, I'm happy to give them that clarification. I'd be happy to tell them about this video. It's 3 hours long. But I'm going to be cutting this one up because this needs to be known. And like I said, I will probably just post those papers so that way it's out there and people can make up their own decision, you know, because this is going to continue on and on and on with these people. They don't get it. They just don't get it. And I'm sorry that they don't. It's very cut and dry and in the paperwork. And I didn't write the paperwork. That was done by a judge, you know. Scranton, yes. Wind Beneath My Wings. And it's just like, it's such a good, like, it's like, there's so many cute songs in that movie, you know. I just love it. The vaudeville singers, and I like the mom. She's like, she's like, skedaddle, I gotta have a sip. Like, it's just so cute. And then Blossom, the girl that played Blossom, you know, she's like, hit it, Toots. Like, she's so funny. I love when people call people Toots. I actually used to call Livy that sometimes. I'm like, okay, what are we doing, Toots? You know, because again, that's our jam. That's our movie. Don't yet. That's right. Hey, we're the Dragon Tribe. We're the Dragon Tribe, and I kind of tried to look and see if, you know. I was like, wait a minute, is a dragon like a mythical bird creature? Like, probably more based on a dinosaur. So I think we're right there, Count Chat. Oh, I like that part too in that movie. You made me think of it again. Where the Aunt Vesta gives the little girl, like, I don't know, maybe $5 or something, right? And she's like, what's this for? And she's like, it'll keep you honest. I love that. It's so funny. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate it. I'm here for you guys too, you know. Thank you about the rants. I was just like, I was like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm like, how is it that I'm responsible for something that you did to some lady in Arizona? How are you blaming that on me and inciting more trouble upon me when I had nothing to do with that, and you have no proof that I did? No proof whatsoever. But here you go. I'm going to post these on here in case you guys do this to somebody else. You know? They have to stop at some point. Thank you, Kiki. Thank you so much. I'll give you a call, girlfriend. I just haven't had a chance, you know? Thank you. Thanks, Lori. Yeah, and I want people to feel empowered to do that too. I do not like watching anybody. Like, if it's manufactured content and y'all are going back and forth because you want the subscribers, I get that happens. There's actually like producers and stuff that facilitate that, like reality TV. It's like Desperate House, or no, not Desperate Housewives. It'd be more of like, Atlanta Housewives or, OG, Orange County Wives or whatever, which I'm not as familiar with, but like, that going back and forth, or like say Jersey Shore stuff, right? Because like that's one that I did watch. Even to The Bachelor, like, I mean, there was a certain point in my life that I thought The Bachelor, this is so embarrassing to admit, but I really thought The Bachelor was real. Like, I really thought that there was like a guy that was, going to pick from 25 girls, right? Because he's eligible and they are too, right? And it's kind of cute. It's fun. They go on like, dates and stuff, and it's fun to watch, right? We're women. Watch party, hello. But then it's like, and then on the flip side of that too, eligible bachelorette, and then she gets to choose from like whatever, and they kind of make it like look all magical. But then they did this, I don't know if you'd call it like a tell-all episode or like a behind the scenes, and they showed that it's all rigged, right? So like they put these personalities into the mix in order to like create drama. So, right, they might put somebody like me in there, and then they might put somebody, that I wouldn't necessarily mesh with, right? Because they have a totally different personality, right? We have zero in common. And then of course, and then they add booze to it, right? And then they add the jealousy and the competition factor, right? Because there's 25 of them and one of the person, right? So it was funny because they were showing kind of how they pick people, and the producers would pick people that were going to cause, for the drama factor, because it's more interesting that way. It might be boring to some people to just watch things play out, right? And then also, I think, they probably didn't realize it, at first that it was going to go that way. But once they realized what people were wanting to watch, then that's why they started with that. And they're like, oh yeah, last season, our viewership went up when, Tanya and Stacy got into a freaking cat fight. You know what I mean? They're pulling each other's hair, and I'm going to get her, and he's mine, and and those get back and forth, and and it was entertaining to people, and so they're like, oh shit, the views are up, so this is what we're going to do. That's why I like having my channel independently, and I would never probably go with any type of a producer. One, I don't want to have to listen to anybody else. I want to be my own boss. I want to do things the way I want to do them. I have a certain way that I want to present things. I want the creative liberties to be my own. I don't want somebody else telling me how to do it, or like, we can't do that because the sponsors wouldn't like it, that sort of thing. Because, that's the reason why we say grape instead of the word, right? Is because we don't want to be half monetized and stuff like that, because you will get demonetized for that sort of stuff too. You also have these psychotic people out here who, I really didn't realize it, but they will like, if you say something, even referring to the case or something, they'll say, oh, this is for SEX content, and da da da, and they'll report you for it, right? So they're always looking for something. Petty, get a life. I'm sorry, yours sucks, get a life. But again, I do feel sorry for those people, because, they have to have it rough. And some of them I know for a fact they do. And they just, are pissed off at the world, and that's fine. But you're not going to bully me or my friends or my family. That's not going to happen. I will involve the law, and we'll figure it out from there. Solutions are available. Nobody should ever have to put up with this. And the fact that, it's very seductive to go back and forth with someone. Of course, you're like, oh, I don't, I didn't do that, or, how dare they say that about me? Just take a step back, breathe, and realize that, there's a better option there, and it's called documenting it and, reporting it to the proper authorities. And it can be hard to know what, how to do that too. And that's kind of why I wanted to go over, everything show the different states and people that I am, having this happen to me with. And so that way you guys can understand it, because on YouTube, that's what makes it really, really hard, is that there's a level of, us just seeing an avatar. And so, oh, well, I don't know that person. I don't know where they live. I don't know anything about them, but all the while they were trying to gather personal information about me, I was also, able to gather personal information about them, not knowing that I would have to save it for all intents and purposes of what I'm going through now. But it's just a trauma response that I've always had. So I don't erase anything. I just don't, I might put it in a folder and stuff, but that's just to keep it organized. It's a trauma response. Believe me, I wish it wasn't so. I wouldn't have as much in my storage, like paper in my storage. But that's the thing. Like, I want original documents. I want digital. I want backup. And I highly recommend this, guys. Thumb drives all the way. Always back everything up, right? Because a computer can crash. You can catch a virus, whatever. Always back it up. Please back it up. And always trust your gut. If you get a weird feeling from somebody, even if somebody says, oh, you're overreacting or you don't know what you're talking about, trust yourself. Trust yourself. And if somebody tells you that somebody's dangerous, you might consider the source, but I would take it very seriously. And I'm here to tell you that Matthew DeMauro is dangerous, in my opinion, and so is his wife, Noelle. And again, I'm not going to keep on reiterating it, but I am going to make it well known, so that way when they decide to lie to their viewers, at least I can have documentation of the truth. So because the court documents don't lie, neither do the transcripts from the court or audio from the courts. So I'll be working on getting that as well. And they're more than welcome to play that as well, on their channel too, or read the transcripts off. Of course, I'm no better than anybody. You know what I mean? I'm no better than anybody. We're all people. We are all people. We have feelings. We have family. We have, friends. I'm no different. I'm no better. But I'm certainly not going to stoop to the level that they've stooped. Thanks, Kathy. Thank you. Well, they do need to learn to leave each other alone and mind their own, and the thing is like, I don't understand how much more that people want from me, because I do put myself up here. I do put myself out there. I do tell you guys about myself, right? Because I'm not embarrassed. It's my life. It's who I am. It's what made me who I am, right? I know where I came from. I came from a really good family, and I was lucky for that. And a lot of times when I look at these kids, I'm thinking, man, and hey, we're all dysfunctional. Let's just be honest. But, I do. I have paper in my storage. Well, Lori, and then I love books too. So like, I have books and books and books and books. And I still have a lot of Olivia's old books and stuff like that. And then I have some of the novels, of hers that she's like, I'm like, I'm moving. I don't have, we didn't have time to like, she didn't have room to bring them, with her. So I was like, I'll just take them with me. And then whenever you need them, I'm holding them hostage so she'll come visit me more. So, but no, I mean, it's just, yeah. So it's like books and, paperwork from a lot from the Catholic Church. They don't mess around. They don't mess around. They want to know the truth. Hey, Sabrina, thank you so much for being here. They do need to start acting like adults, Lori. I agree. It is. It's like, it's so crazy, right? It's ridiculous. It's like, to the point of being insane and moronic, in my opinion, too. It's like, yeah, it is stupid. It's like, quit. Just act like we're adults. We're all adults, like we all can use our words. We're all capable of that, right? We have the mental capacity to do so. You know, we're not guaranteed that either, right? I could get hit, I can, you know, fall and hit my head. You know, you just don't know. We just don't know. But yeah, articulate yourself, and, you know, and if you're going to try to find a solution, you're going to have to like listen to somebody else's point of view and understand where they're coming from. Otherwise, the conversation's never going to go anywhere, right? When people have disagreements, again, like what I was talking about with beaches, you know, like the best of friends can and have a disagreement and a falling out, and maybe, you know, take time away from each other for a little bit. And then maybe once everybody, you know, has processed their feelings and feels, you know, like they're ready to talk it out, you know, that is the best way to do it. And maybe it's not going to end up like you want it to, but at least what, you know, what is said, right? You spoke your piece, so to speak, and you're able to be you're able to feel okay about it, right? Like after you can talk about it, you're able to say, okay, so yeah, this is going to have to be a situation where, you know, I love and care for you, but we're just not a good fit, right? And that's friends, family, anything. And especially if somebody doesn't respect your boundaries, or if they want to hurt you purposely, or, you know, they didn't have the best intentions to begin with. You really have to protect yourself, you know, because they're not going to. And some people, you'll understand that, you know, once you get to a certain point, you're like, oh, okay, you were always just about yourself, you know, to begin with, or your own agenda, you know what I mean? And on here, people will, you know, part of the trolling is to be extremely nice to you, to make you think that they are on your side, but they're really not, you know, and that's the whole thing that happened. Unfortunately with Seth, many, 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 many times with many of these people. And again, it's textbook, it's not original, and it's very identifiable when you know, see it, in my opinion, you know. Detroit. Detroit. Detroit says, my dad used to say to you, shave your ass and walk backwards, take it how you want. That is so funny, Detroit. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Somehow your dad sounds a lot like mine. You know? Exactly. Poor Seth, Lori. And that's why I'm like, I'm not like poor me. You know what I mean? Because look, I'm not missing. My son's not missing. You know, I don't have a son, but, you know, I mean, come on. So I don't feel sorry for anybody but Sebastian and Seth, you know? And that's only because I've watched them torment him, and he's suffering. He's suffering. And thank God he's advocating, and he's not doing it in silence, you know? Thank God for that. Like, grow the F up. Exactly. Lord, I mean, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't even have to be this way. It doesn't. I think it's just easier. Another thing too I think of is like, you know, if we go out to the grocery store, or if we were just like in life in general, with coworkers or anything like that, this would never play out in real life, because people would never have the, you know, audacity to do this in real life. You know what I mean? Like you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, right? So you just don't go around, like, you don't go to work and be like, you know what, screw you, I'm taking your lunch today, and, you know, I'm doing this, and I'm gonna be a bully, and too bad if you don't like it. That ain't gonna work. Not gonna work for you. You know, but it works here to a certain level, because people can hide behind the avatar, they can hide behind the keyboard, they could tell people whatever they want, and people will believe them, unfortunately, and send them money. And so they're like, oh, here's my legal fund. Legal fund? Why don't you stop harassing women, and you won't have to have a legal fund? You know what I mean? Because the legal fund for this situation is null and void, because, you know, I need to use visuals sometimes. I'm a very visual person. So, yeah, checkmate. It's over with. So any money that is being sent to these two, it's not going to go towards my stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, but they're telling people that. They're telling people that. They're like, oh yeah, this is for, you know, we're doing that. No, you're not. No, you're not. Not with all the documentation. You're about to get violated. Is the thing. You know, I mean, So stop. And if you would just stop, it wouldn't be a problem. That's the whole, this is the lunacy. This is the lunacy. All you have to do is stop. That's all. Stop. And you're golden, right? Because really all it is just you stay away from me, I stay away from you. We're good, right? But instead you keep violating and keep violating and keep violating and keep violating, right? You know. So then you're gonna blame me when you get in trouble? Damn her. Really? But you expect me to just sit here and take it? Not gonna happen. No. Because I have self-respect. Kathy says, I don't know you, but I think you're a wonderful person and you are doing a really great job on your podcast. Thank you, Kathy. Hey, you know, I mean, like, none of us are perfect. You know what I mean? I have my days. I do. You know, and I don't know you guys very well, but I just know that a lot of you, like you, Kathy, you're here all the time. I interact with you guys, you know, and I mean, we all can, you know, make each other better, you know? We could all make each other better, or we could make each other worse. We could sit here and, you know, all get together and hate on people, or we can all get together and try to find a solution. We can all get together and put the puzzle pieces together. We could all get together and pray for Sebastian. That's what I'd rather be doing, you know? And Seth needs us. He needs us to help. And Sasha, your idea is fantastic. We need to get that going. That is where I want to be spending my time, energy, and effort. Organizing, advocating, doing the right thing, because I don't know how much longer I have here, but I want to do right, because there's people that I know are in heaven that I want to see, you know? And I'm always grateful to God that I'm here, that I'm able to keep going, right? Always grateful for that. Always. And always will. I always will be. Sasha says, we are here for victims to come first and foremost, and prevention is the key. CPS, why didn't you call Seth 5 cases? I know. Well, and you know, a bit of accountability, but that lady's fired now. Now we'll never know what happened. You know, except for whatever Seth has in the reports, but he's not allowed to share them. The secrecy is not a good thing sometimes, guys. I understand some things, you know. I don't know. Some things are better left unsaid, I suppose, but I don't know. Yeah. I'll call the feds. Sasha says I'll call the feds and lay the whole case out from beginning to end 100%. They need to be working with you, Sasha. I'm telling you. Aw, thank you, little Miss Sharon. You're an amazing human being as well. Like, you know, I mean, gosh, I'm so happy to have all, you know, everybody from different places too. Like, that's another thing that is so valuable to me. And I really enjoy having people from all over, you know, that come in and that we can interact with, right? Because, like, you know, I wouldn't know you either. See, this is the silver lining, right? Like, because I said, well, the reason why I have Sebastian up here, because they're not going to be hiding behind it, you know, behind him anymore, behind the fact that, you know, oh, you know, look at this creator putting him up there and da da da. It's because of him, right, that me and little Miss Sharon know each other, right? Though, I mean, that's a beautiful thing, you know, and I'll take that, you know, little Miss Sharon, because I think you're amazing too. So thank you. You know, and the same thing goes for all of you guys. Lori, Detroit Rock City. I mean, gosh. I mean, we've been knowing each other for a while, a lot of us. We have. Detroit Rock City says, but the hard way for a hard head like me made me really appreciate that they loved me and only wanted the best for us. Yes. God, I miss them. Those days were, yeah, way. Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, there's a lot of times in life that we might be concerned with, you know, the future, right? Or maybe overly concerned with the past, but there's a lot of good in sitting in the present, and especially when you go back and you look on events and you're like, wow, I didn't realize how much like I should have cherished that moment, because it, I miss that, right? I'm gonna what's that country song? You're gonna miss this, right? You're gonna want this back. So even though there were times where, even with my ex-husband, I can think back and I could be like, man, we had a really good time when we did this, and it was just the three of us, so we had a blast, and I mean, talk about board games. We got down with some board games. We really did. Um, we really did. And you're right, Detroit. And especially with our folks, or anybody, or his brothers, sisters, cousins, all that. Yeah, they will. They will have to go from the beginning, Sasha. And you know what's neat though too is if you do report something to the cyber stalking division, you can continue to add to that report, right? So you just keep going in there, and it's an online portal, and you just keep adding to it and putting the URLs in and your proof and all of that. So you just have to keep going and going and doing it, So, um, well, guys, I so appreciate you guys being here. With Sharon, I do. That's right, Kathy. We're all perfectly imperfect. Yeah, perfect as the Lord created us. Yeah, and He gave us all a purpose. All of us. He's like, here, these are your gifts, and this is your purpose. But He also told us that it's up to us to do it. Right? He gives us the free will. So He says, this is my will, but I'm giving you the free will to decide. That's the greatest love and gift that somebody can give us, right? Is letting us be an individual and letting us make our own choices and decisions. I can't think of a greater act of love, and even more so being grateful. You know what I mean? To have being grateful on both sides, right? It's so important. Yes. Detroit, I love that. I love the little cowboy hat. Yes, yes. Hey, I like all genres of music. You know what I mean? I really do. I really do. And the lyrics are good. Because I used to get teased, like, how can we listen to country music? Yeah, Rob Beanie, same you. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I was like, I like the lyrics. I like the lyrics. But I mean, there's some fun songs too, like Brooks and Dunn. Oh man, that Boot Scoot and Boogie. Oh yeah, that's some fun. That's a fun song. The fun stuff. Go country line dancing is fun too. Um, well, you guys are amazing. I'm gonna get off of here because I think I saw Josh come on, and I'm gonna go over and kind of unwind, and maybe he'll have some laughs for us. He's a funny guy. So I'm gonna go do that. Please join me over there. I might not be in the chat as much. I'm doing a lot of stuff, and I have to empty out some things and make room for more storage wise. I was supposed to do a beach day tomorrow, but I think I'm just going to do a barbecue and chill because I don't know what the weather's going to be like. It's supposed to rain on and off. But I'm kind of bummed because I do like going to the beach when it's like, I don't know, like when it's not overly hot, well, especially because Django and stuff but he's not a big water person, or he's not a big water beagle. He don't like it, and then he rolls around in the sand. It's hilarious. But yeah, I'm going to do that tomorrow and just kind of regroup. And starting Monday, I'm going to do morning. Well, I guess it'll be morning for me. Maybe like a mid-afternoon matinee true crime discussion, right? Where we bring in maybe some current events, or we talk about some cases that we haven't before. I want to do some throwbacks, right? I want to talk about Harmony Montgomery. I want to talk about Little Harmony. I want to talk about Chris and Shanann Watts and beautiful Bella and Celeste and Nico. I want to talk about them. I want to talk about even perhaps some about the Idaho 4. I also want to continue on with some of those case comparisons that we were working on before in the Summer Wells case. So those are the things that are in the works and that are really important to me. I also want to do a presentation on the lights video, but I'm still tweaking it, and I want to make sure that the things that I'm sharing are going to be, all buttoned up and beautiful for you guys. Cause, some of the conclusions or some of the things that we're finding in these photos can be quite disturbing. And it's purely speculation, my opinion and things, but, also working on some other collaborations too. I really want to work on getting a panel together. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but reach out to me if you want to come on a panel where we kind of build out a timeline of events in the Sebastian Rogers case. So, I want to start back when they moved into the house. I want to start back then, and move forward, right? Because we know about some of the things that were happening in the past in California and that sort of thing. But I really want us to put our heads and our notes together and, screenshots and things like that. So I want to be working on that as well. But again, I'm going to do 2 shows. So I'll do, like an afternoon matinee, right? And then I want to do one that'll be nighttime, again, 11:30, but just something for us to, be able to kind of, like, for me to kind of ramp the channel up and put out more content, and also for us to kind of grow our community of people who like to hear about these true crime cases, right? Current events, whatever it is. And maybe we'll even have a day where we just do a free-for-all or a mini mystery or whatever, maybe we might look at a certain case and see if anybody, can solve it, and it'll be an actual case, something like that. I don't know. I just have a lot of ideas. And they're absolutely focused around trying to figure out what happened to Sebastian first and foremost, never giving up on him. Never giving up on him. I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. I will not be scared. I'm not scared. I'm not. I want to continue to talk about Sebastian, even if Chris has all of my personal information. That's fine. He can have it. It doesn't matter. I want to figure out what happened to Sebastian. I also want to follow this case with Jaden Spicer. So please say prayers for him. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about in true crime. It's every day, right? And it's unfortunate. But the more that we're aware of these things and that they do exist, the more that we can kind of combat that, and in my opinion, I hope we can make a difference. Maybe we can start some petitions. Maybe we can, try to change things. And again, Sasha, we have to get together. I want to hear your ideas on organizing this kind of protest. Like, I think it was either Detroit or Rob Uni said, like, a Hands Across America kind of thing, where, the same day we all kind of get together and we, stand up and let our voices be heard. That is part of our constitutional rights. So, ooh, popsicles and oatmeal. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Lori. Thank you guys so much again for you guys all being here. It really, really, really is important to me, and I so appreciate you guys. Because I know why you're here. I know you like listen to me sometimes, but you guys you want to hear about Sebastian, and I'm so thankful. We sent away again in Margarita. Hey, I have not been to Margaritaville, but I would like to go. I know Jimmy Buffett is, well, I might not see him, but gosh, would I like to see like Zach Brown over there or something? That'd be cool. I love me some Zach Brown band. All right, guys, you are all amazing. Again, group, what have you? Let's see. What there was one, oh my gosh, I almost forgot. I'm so glad that I did not forget. I was like, there's something else I need to do, and I need to make this correction. I spoke with our friend whose granddaughter is missing. She's still missing, guys. I checked for an update, right? So Jaden Camille Nance, right? She's missing from Fort Worth, Texas. And I know we have a lot of our Texans in here. 5'5" tall. She's 140 pounds. Brownish blonde hair is her natural color with blue eyes. She is pictured here in a most recent picture having purple hair. Right? But she's a cutie pie. And her family loves her and misses her. Wants to know where she is. She has run away before, right? That doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve to be found. So, last time she was seen was Tuesday. This is the change I have to make, and this is what, her grandmother told me today. Tuesday at 11 a.m., not Thursday. So I'm going to change it again. Just want to kind of reiterate that. August 7th, 2025. Your family's worried about you. They love you. Please contact law enforcement if you see Jaden, please, and pray for her and her family, right? And for Jaden to be reunited with them. So they love you, Jaden, and everything can be fixed. Everything can be fixed. There's a solution, and you're too cute, even though you're real sassy. I could tell, but there's nothing wrong with that. You got to be. Ooh, sorry guys. You got to be feisty in this world to make it. So praying for Jaden. I thought there was one more thing. I'm just looking through here. I want to make sure. Sorry guys. And sorry for whoever left. I know I said I was hopping off here. What else was it? Okay. If I think about it, I'll do a quick video or something like that. But otherwise, I'm going to see you on Monday Night Raw, right? But we're going to do a Monday matinee, right? So we'll do a True Crime Monday matinee or something. I'll come up with some good topics for us to discuss. And, we're going to keep on trucking. So I love you all so much. Again, thank you for being here. And again, guys, I'm not going to keep talking about this. I just want it to be known once and for all. I don't want to be lied upon anymore. I think I've put up with enough of that. And, I've moved in silence until, and I didn't say anything until I could checkmate. So have a good night, guys. I love you.